All right, you're on.
Hello.
I can hear you at least.
Hi there.
And now you can see
Right,
Ryan and his
Time to say goodbye.
Oh, yeah. I've decided to become a coffee cup.
Ask him what's in that coffee cup.
I don't keep asking. That's vodka.
No,
No,
worse.
It's worse. What is it?
it's water because I've decided to conserve cups because we are out of cups here at the office.
So
That's
you
not.
just-
That's not the point of the water, though.
But the water is from yesterday, and therefore I am holding this as a prop because I thought what we would do is we would come in here, we talk a little bit, I would make
pinkies up.
some sort of really good point, and then I would say, and I would drink it. But I can't do that because this is old water. So
You can.
I can't. Yeah, it's just water. It's not as if it goes bad. Well, I need to make a great point. Here, I'll make a great point. In the winter, I don't have a problem with leaving a bottle of water in my car and drinking it for weeks on end.
Oh,
No, I really don't have
During the winter, if you leave a bottle
Yeah.
of water in your car weeks on end, how do you drink it? It's an
Because-
ice
Yeah.
cube.
Well, it doesn't. You try it. It stays cold in the winter, but it doesn't freeze usually unless it's like really, really cold.
You mean like below freezing?
No, I mean.
why are you so
below zero.
thirsty that you have to have a bottle of water, but the bottle of water isn't completed?
Well, because I usually like to drink. I usually like to just have a drink and then set it back down. I don't take a whole bottle at a time. So
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
putting one in the cup holder and then just have a drink every now and then. And in the winter, it's great because it doesn't get hot. I feel like if the water gets hot,
Shall we?
then I don't want to drink it anymore. And it
Today's
goes bad.
YouTube poll is: have you ever been contacted to take a political poll? Yes or no? This is a good question, Annie.
Thanks. Came up with it myself.
Mhm.
5 minutes
After
ago.
what happened? Being contacted to take a political poll?
After I couldn't think of another poll to ask.
That's a great point.
12:25 no response. But
Just selling out
coffee.
for the bid, aren't you?
I'm not drinking it. It's like there's some water in there. I just don't think
How long did it take you to properly pronounce Hans's last name?
like a couple months.
One day I did it seamlessly, and that day is not today. At 1:05, Tyrus will join us again.
You may know Tyrus from the show Godfellas
Just maybe.
and
Or you might know him from our
from
show.
the Antichrist.
I mean, he's been on our show longer than he's been on that show.
That's true.
It is. That's real news.
Maybe
It's a little bit of
know him from our show.
a little bit of Antichrist show trivia for you there.
And what else, guys? I see that we have some
Oh,
something on the back.
some
today.
overlap.
That's
Today is
new.
Thursday, October 13th.
The next
This-
email is going to be about all the excessive ink that we're using.
Oh, yeah.
We just get chastised for
This-
something.
This much excessive ink.
And paper.
I haven't seen the email. I want to see it now.
Oh yeah, yeah. go
Well,
ahead
it's
and
not
bring it
paper because if I had done not two-sided, then it would have printed out an extra sheet.
Oh, that would have been bad.
up. I just
You
found out
can't win.
today that the
Win.
cups that we have in the office are for guests and not employees. So
Yeah, that was interesting.
I did not know that.
I got to read this email.
Yeah, yeah. Wait till you see it. So I think we've got I actually really like that YouTube because I think that's something that once you do it, you'll never stop getting calls. Just like if you donate to a cause, you'll never stop getting emails after that.
But
I don't think that's true.
Brad, you're
I mean,
not on the
the thing
camera.
I'm not even on camera.
Now you are.
You're over, Ryan.
Sorry.
Now what?
Now that I'm on.
Now that we're playing a
I
while,
don't think that's true, and I think I'll talk about my experience whenever we talk about the poll.
yes.
all right.
Now, I will agree about the politician things because I'm still getting emails from just like 6 different Donald Trump accounts.
Yeah, I knew a couple that donated to Donald Trump. I think $20 in 2015 when he first started. They've certainly the Trump camp has spent more than $20 sending them things
Yeah.
since then.
I thought it was cool at the Trump rally. You could see on the board all the people that donated that day. That's interesting. All right. Intro's about to play.
Okay.
Good show. Thursday.
Good job.
971talk.com.
Wrap it up.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
All right, so we're looking at a month-over-month gain of 0.4%. The estimate was 0.2%. Month-over-month coming in at 0.4%. Year-over-year, 8.2%. That is hotter than expected. Again, coming in month over month, hotter than expected at 0.4%. And again, 8.2% is the headline CPI number for the month of September. That is hotter than expected. Again, if you strip out food and energy, 6.6%. That is your core number year over year. Hotter than expected, guys. Hotter than expected. There goes your markets down 241 points.
How many times did she say that?
I don't know, but everybody every piece of audio. Oh, coming in hotter than expected.
Cheryl, is it Cassoni? Probably
I
Fox
think so.
Business. It's like it could be the slogan for Wiggins America on Saturday.
Hotter than expected.
Hotter than expected. Ryan, will you please create a promo for the end of the show for Wiggins America and use the hotter than expected line? He's sitting in his office right now going, gosh, dang it, what do I have to do now? He's going to hear that and he's going to go, yeah, I can do that. It's for Wiggins America. Oh, man. More not so favorable numbers for the economy. And it frustrates me to be like, oh, the reports are in. Guys, bad news. The economy is bad. And you're like, I know. I've been living it. I've been dealing with this. And maybe this will turn a lot of the people in Washington, D.C. into praying people because they're going to need a prayer if they want Democrats to retain any kind of power with this constant barrage of bad news. Listen to Joe
It's
Concha.
like me gaining 50 pounds, Sean, right? And my wife says, you look like you're in your second trimester at this point. I think you need to lose some weight. So then I go out and I lose 7 pounds in a month and then have the audacity to go back to her to say, honey, I've never lost weight this quickly in my life and this much weight so fast. And that's the same thing with gas prices. It went to an all-time high. They bring it down to the $3.50 range, which, remember, when Donald Trump left office, it was about $2.30 a gallon, so still well above that. And they blamed Vladimir Putin price hike and that whole hashtag before prices came down. And now we see it going back towards, it's almost at $4 a gallon. It will only go higher.
Gas prices, wrong direction, not continuing to be a problem for this administration. But do you need the reports? Do you need to hear the talking heads be like, folks, this is shocking. This is hotter than expected. And then you sit there and you're like, oh no, it's really bad. I'm worried. We all know this. We're living it. Welcome to the club, folks. People who need to be paying attention to passing more spending bills, to giving out more handouts of the taxpayers' dollar that they can't afford. People know that. They've known it for a while now. You can choose to not call it a recession. You can choose to call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter what the name of it is. It doesn't matter what the name of your ugly baby is. We're gonna have to call the baby ugly. That's a phrase. Don't feel personally attacked by that. I know what it's like to have a baby and you feel like this is the cutest baby that's ever lived, and then you go back and you're like, nope, that looked like a newborn. Still cute to you and still precious in your heart, but it's like I think probably around 6 months or 6 weeks, I should say, is when babies start to look more like they look and less like a newborn, because a lot of newborns look alike. Someone has to call the baby ugly. And it's certainly not going to be the sycophants in the mainstream media. So that was Fox Business. Hotter than expected, of course. And you sit here and you wonder, is this, if it's hotter than expected, are they going to understand that something needs to be done? Well, I wonder what CNBC had to say about it.
Finally, year over year, strip out food and energy, also hotter than expectations, up 6.6. That follows 6.3, and 6.6 is a new high. The old high was 6.5 in March. That went back to 1982.
Oh, hotter than expected. Who gets to be the person who determines the phrase?
I don't know. Like, who said it initially and then it stuck?
Who said that? Yeah, I kind of want to be that person. You know who'd be great at being that person? Ryan Wiggins. He'd come up with the phrase for the economic report, and it would turn into he would just see how far he could go with that.
Yeah, I think he'd slide like the phrase something about pudding in there.
More pistachios in the pudding than we expected. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Listen to Joe Biden on this.
They've been saying this now. How every 6 months they say this. Every 6 months they look down the next 6 months and see what's going to happen. It hadn't happened yet. It hadn't. There's no guarantee that they're going to be. I don't think there will be a recession. If it is, it'll be a very slight recession. That is, we'll move down slightly. Well, look, think about what's happened. We have done more. We're in a better position than any other major country in the world, economically and politically.
He says, and this is really important for people like you and me so that we can understand better what's going on. He says, if there is a recession, it'll be a slight recession, which means it will happen slightly. That sounds like one Wiggins would sneak in. Does this matter to anybody in Washington, D.C.? Only if it matters in November. Listen to Fox News.
Paris, it truly is. And you know what's even more fascinating? This notable shift that we're seeing in voter priority, and that could spell out some real trouble for Democrats. If you look at the latest poll out of Monmouth University, the largest number of Americans, 82%, rated inflation as their most important issue. That's followed by crime at 72%, elections and voting at 70%. And all of these, plus jobs and immigration, are GOP-led issues, and topped abortion in this poll. This really comes into focus with independent voters who often decide the tightest of races. In that Monmouth poll, 61% said economic issues were most important to their vote. With that, Republicans have gained a point on the generic ballot question.
This is absolutely not going in the direction that the Democrats need for November, which is good news for the country because that's generally speaking the only way you can get them to pay any attention to what's actually going to benefit you is that the people get so fed up and the information laundering that happens in the mainstream media isn't enough to squeeze out the victories that they need in order to continue to retain power. So maybe something will have to change. Well, it's getting a little too late to change anything where we are 26 days away from the midterm election. And I will remind you, 754 days away from the 2024 election. That's it. Under the 800 line. Does that make you feel good or terrible? 754 days. You feel good about that?
No. I feel bad about that.
I feel bad about that.
It's like, that's it. That's it. That's all the farther we've gone?
Yeah. I mean, we're not even halfway through. We're not at the midpoint yet. We have more room to go than where we've already been.
And there's been nothing that has said maybe things will tick up. In the past, however long it's been, there's been absolutely nothing that has made me go, well, maybe.
This could get better.
No.
Yeah. And you know, they do have responses for people when they talk about the economy. Joe Biden's response is that we are not in a recession. And if it were to happen, it won't be too bad, which is really encouraging when you're like, this isn't a recession. And when we do get to recession, it won't be like your relative standard of expectation and understanding of what we are experiencing as tax-paying, life-living Americans, saying that a recession wouldn't be too bad if we were to have one. It's bad now, and you're not calling this a recession.
Yeah, I've been going through audio and looking at audio and stuff like that, and you see all these different things. I expect us to go into a recession at the beginning of next year. And I'm like, dude, we're already there.
Yeah.
We're there. I see it every time I fill up my truck. I see it every time we go to the grocery store. I see it everywhere. And then it's like, it's not as bad as you think.
Gas prices going up here in October. They've got an explanation for that, though, too.
First, I blame the Saudis. I mean, they are totally outrageous and ungrateful in cutting production and hurting the American people. I do blame the Fed. They were buying back corporate bonds and mortgages for way too long, printing way too much money. And I blame Putin's war, which has aggravated supply chains, and, of course, the pandemic, which did that.
We're screwed. I'm sorry, folks. This isn't good. You do have the opportunity to change the majority in the House and in the Senate in 26 days in the midterm. Illinois, you can go vote now. So if you want to get that done and get that out of the way, you can go vote now. And it's a Republican up and down the ticket situation right now. Every single opportunity to change, especially in Illinois, the way the direction of your life is being supervised and monitored. Brad looked this up yesterday. Illinois is still under a state of emergency. J.B. Pritzker still hasn't lifted the state of emergency in the state of Illinois. Does that surprise you? It shouldn't. Ted Cruz was on the show with us yesterday. Really exciting to be able to speak with him and to discuss his bus tour that he has that's going across the country, but specifically what he is experiencing during this bus tour. He told us about that.
I believe November is not just going to be a red wave, it's going to be a tsunami. I think Republicans are going to retake both the House and the Senate.
Both the House and the Senate. Ted Cruz says red tsunami. Do you buy that? You feel that right now, Brad? We asked this question on our YouTube live chat poll regularly. Is the red wave happening? How do you feel about it right now?
Well, if you had asked me a month ago, which I think you did through the YouTube poll.
I'm sure I did.
But I would have said, no, it's probably just a red wave. But that wave is growing. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger because, like we said earlier, the gas prices are going up. They're going back in the wrong direction. There was a little downturn there where, people had gotten used to it and they were playing it off. But now they're going back up. People aren't going to stand for that. Inflation's still sky high. People aren't going to stand for that. Parents are still mad. People aren't going to stand for that. It's just, yeah, I see a red tsunami.
Oh, gosh, we just got some good news from Balls on YouTube. He says, on a positive note, I think we only have 11 Thursdays till Christmas.
I like how he phrases
I
that.
like how you think. Only 11 Thursdays? Does that count today?
I don't know.
It shouldn't. If not, it should be 10.
Yeah.
Christmas. Are you ready for Christmas?
I am ready.
I'm ready.
Like ready for it to happen, not ready as in prepared for Christmas.
No, Christmas is a whole season.
Yeah.
And Christmas, the holidays for me start with Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into Thanksgiving. Veterans Day is in there. I enjoy the things we do to celebrate Veterans Day with this station. We are in parades, and it just is a comfortable march into cozy, comfortable Christmas, which is the best time of the year. Thanks, Balls, for that positive information.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yes. With inflation, it might end up being 12 Thursdays. Let's hope not. Let's take a quick break. On the break here, I'd like you to go vote in the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. This is a fun one. Ryan Wiggins is a big fan of this one. Have you ever been contacted to take a political poll? Yes or no? We would love to know if you have, and we'll let you know throughout the show if we have as well. Have you ever been contacted to take a political poll? You go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, and in the live chat section, you'll see the poll question is up there. You just vote yes or no. If you choose to, you can leave us a comment. Hannah highlights those questions at the end of the show at 2:45 when you can make sure to tune in and hear the results. Participate in that poll. We're going to be back with Hans von Spakovsky. We're going to talk about the Durham trial. We're going to talk about Hunter Biden, Igor Danchenko, and how this is all a really, really ironic moment in history in the last 10 years. Stick around. St. Louis's home for conservative talk is back right after this.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Another one busts the dust. Ow! Another one busts the dust. Hey, hey! Another one busts the dust. Hey!
Second Amendment Radio is a staple of solid firearm information on 97.1 every weekend. Saturday from 3 to 4 and Sunday from noon to 1. It's Second Amendment Radio and the great outdoors. 97.1 FM Talk.
So C.A. Jones, the premier home builder in the Metro East on the Illinois side of the river, the homes that are built by C.A. Jones, there are a few things that I personally love about them. If you sat down and gave them the opportunity to brag on themselves, they might highlight a few other different areas. First of all, their homes are stunning. And they don't all look the same, which I really appreciate. They have a wide variety of buildable plans that are at cajonesinc.com or cojonesinc.com, which I like to say because it's funny. You can go there and you can look through their house plans. They also have the opportunity to go on there and like visually pick what color roof you would like, what color brick you would like to have, or siding or window panes, all of these different things. You can go there right now and customize a home that you might be building in your dreams, but maybe in the future. Because one of the other things that I love about them is their homes are affordable. They're not outrageous. They are accessible. And if you are somebody especially who is looking at maybe a large house that used to house a bunch of kids and you're looking to downsize a little bit and you aren't finding what you want on the market, this is a great opportunity to consider building with C.A. Jones and having the house that has everything where you want it, just the way you want it. They're energy efficient. They have amazing warranties that come along with them, and they're waiting for you to reach out to them and talk to them. Go to cajonesinc.com.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
You had a solid retirement dream, sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel, but inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want, and Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
The first thing you're going to have to learn is that until you stop expecting our politicians or anyone else to change your life isn't going to change. The only person going to change your life is you, but you need to know how.
Want to learn how? Meet Bill Wumsley's Lifestyles Unlimited team and get your map to retirement in 5 years or less. Saturday and Sunday, November 5th and 6th in St. Louis. Go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. That's GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Limited seating, unlimited potential. Register now at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
When I'm out walking, I strut my stuff, and I'm so strung out. I'm high as a kite, I just might stop to check you out. Let me go on.
So this is just
just a glimpse of who was involved in this fraud. Now multiply this dimwit by 50. The ends justify the means. You can lie to the American people and there's no consequences. But that's 50 reasons why you got to go vote and take control of the House. Because every single signer of that letter needs to be questioned just like that. Like, who asked them to do this? Were they paid? Did they deduct that contribution from their taxes? But I credit this guy for at least showing his face in public.
We the people of the United States.
More perfect.
Your form of our perfect union.
Heritage legal expert Hans von Spakovsky.
So, historically speaking, we're at a very interesting moment in time because we have charges surrounding Hunter Biden for laws that he has broken that we know were shielded from the American people in the 2020 election. But at the same time, Igor Danchenko is on trial with John Durham, who's trying to get to the bottom of who chose to elevate what when in the Justice Department that ended up hurting Donald Trump. Who better to speak to than Hans von Spakovsky, the senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation, on the juxtaposition of these two situations, I should say, at this one time. Hans, welcome back to the show.
Annie, thanks for having me back.
You know, what is your assessment as somebody who's followed closely both of these stories? You have been our go-to for Russia collusion for years now, and you've been right the entire time. Hans, give us the layout of what the Durham trial is about right now, and we can tie it in with the Hunter Biden situation in a minute.
Well, what folks should understand very simply is that Igor Danchenko was the source cited throughout the Steele dossier for all of the derogatory and completely false stories and information about Donald Trump. Okay, so he was the source of all of this, and it's been proven that everything he said in there was a hoax. I mean, he just made it up. And so when he was questioned about all this by the FBI, he continued to try to insist that it was all true, and it's very clear that he lied, and that's what he's on trial for, is multiple occasions where he lied to the FBI. But look, the most astonishing thing to come out of the testimony this week was when an FBI analyst was put up on the stand and admitted in questioning that the FBI had a meeting with Christopher Steele and apparently was offering him up to $1 million to prove the truth of what was in the Steele dossier. I mean, that is just shocking. The FBI should have on its own been immediately looking at and trying to verify whether any of this was true. And remember, the Inspector General in his 500-page report criticized the FBI for, on multiple occasions, failing to do that, and now we know why. They couldn't be bothered, yet they were willing to pay $1 million to the guy who basically engineered this dossier to basically prove, oh yeah, what I say I'm telling you, yeah, it's really true. Okay, the absurdity of that is just shocking.
So, did they pay it? Because he couldn't prove it.
No, apparently they didn't. But again, the fact that they would do that rather than doing their job on their own. And remember, we now know that leadership in the FBI, they were not ignorant of the fact that this dossier had been created through payments from the Clinton campaign. And that basically Christopher Steele, working for Fusion GPS is working for the Clinton campaign. So they knew this was opposition research coming from one of the candidates and therefore couldn't be trusted from the get-go, and yet they proceeded with it anyway, even offering to pay Steele $1 million.
So we're speaking with Hans von Spakovsky because John Durham has Igor Danchenko on trial right now. This is a case we're discussing because there's action being taken on this particular part of the story as we speak. So a couple questions here. The first one that I will ask you, Hans, is let's say that Igor Danchenko's dossier is never created or that the information is never put out there to potentially be used by the FBI, to be consumed by the media. The complete and total fabrications of this entire Russia collusion story, let's just say they don't exist. Can you pontificate for me just how much that would or would not change the rest of the 2016 election and potentially the administration the 4 years Donald Trump was in office?
Well, keep in mind, I was in Washington the 4 years of the Trump administration, and I saw what it did. It totally hampered the ability of the Trump administration to do its work, to put its policies in effect. It scared off staff from taking bold steps because they knew they were being targeted by the FBI in investigations. I mean, this was a huge problem for the Trump administration. And like I said, it hampered all of their work. If this had not existed, I think the administration would have been even more effective and successful than it was. And it was successful in so many different areas, everything from pushing terrific employment, bringing down the price of gasoline, something we all see now, actually starting to get control of the border. I mean, it was one success after another, but they would have been able to do even more if this had not been hanging over them for more than half of the administration.
Well, that is certainly a political ramification that absolutely would have played a part in the 2020 election for them to have had to fend off all of these political challenges, legal challenges that were from this made-up dossier that Igor Danchenko contributed to. But let's talk a little bit about the potentially illegal part of it, not the political ramifications, but the legal ramifications. How was this information used in our investigative departments to potentially remove God-given freedoms from American citizens, specifically like Carter Page?
Keep in mind that false information was used before a federal judge, the judges of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court. That is the court that will secretly authorize electronic eavesdropping and spying on suspected terrorists and foreign espionage agents. And the FBI submitted false affidavits with the help and assistance of the Justice Department to basically spy on Carter Page and other Americans. That should never have happened. And it's an outrage that any of that happened. Every single individual who was involved in doing that should have been terminated from their employment at the Justice Department and the FBI, but we've had no indications that that has happened.
Senior legal fellow with the Heritage Foundation, Hans von Spakovsky, with us on 97.1 FM Talk. You just said that the FBI, along with the Justice Department, submitted false affidavits to spy on an American citizen. Did they know? Was it knowingly false information? Did they know that going in, unequivocally, that it was false when they went to the judge and said, "We would like your permission to spy on an American citizen"?
According to the Inspector General report, yes, certain of the individuals involved knew that they were misleading the court. And remember, we had one Justice Department lawyer who was criminally charged with altering an email to make it easier to obtain the search warrants. And he got off with almost no punishment. The District of Columbia Bar Association has already restored his bar license, which should have been permanently removed from him doing that. So even he basically has gotten away with it with little to no punishment.
That's wild. You said certain individuals did know that information was false. Hans, did those certain individuals have an ulterior motive to push this through, to get this spy warrant on Carter Page? Is there a connection that can be proven that those people did that with nefarious intentions?
Well, think about what we've been hearing in the past 2 months. We have had FBI whistleblowers contacting and speaking to Senators Chuck Grassley and Senator Ron Johnson and talking about the partisan decision-making that they have seen inside the headquarters of the FBI and inside the Washington field office of the FBI, which all of which were involved in the Hunter Biden case. And in fact, they said that kind of partisan decision making was going on in all kinds of other cases. So when you see and hear that, it's hard to not come to the conclusion that there were partisan motivations in what was happening originally with the whole Trump-Russia investigation.
So, Hans, we're talking about this dossier, which has been a subject of conversation for quite some time now. And the dossier, as you've mentioned, was created to disparage Donald Trump. And it was created and discussed right leading up to the election. So it's very difficult for anybody to say, regardless of what they think or feel about Donald Trump, love him or hate him, that this wasn't used to try to politically hurt Donald Trump in the election. And it's all that a lot of the media talked about, without end. Now let's shift to the 2020 election and let's look at information, salacious information that was leaked or discovered. It's not really leaked because Hunter Biden provided the information, but that this story comes out from the Hunter Biden laptop in October of 2020 and the complete sweep lockdown that the media and specifically the social media, the big tech companies said, we're not doing this. We're not talking about this. Squash it. It's not true. Then in comes Russia once again, the easy scapegoat. Compare the difference that these two stories have in outcome, but also the importance of the investigative properties that did or did not take place by the people who this country employs to look into what is factual and what is not.
Well, the difference between the two couldn't be starker. On the one case, you have a presidential candidate and eventual president investigated, electronically spied on, based on totally false information created by his opposing presidential candidate's campaign. And then the second case, there's no question of the authenticity of the laptop and all of the information that it revealed over the corrupt money dealings of Hunter Biden and his family, the latest being that we know he may be charged with, there's enough evidence there for tax evasion charges, for violation of federal gun laws, and yet what happened with that information? It was squashed, not just in social media, but again, going back to the whistleblowers we just discussed, the whistleblowers have all said that the information was basically secreted and pushed away inside the FBI, that individuals inside the FBI did everything they could to prevent an investigation. And we know the truth of this because the main person accused of doing this, a gentleman who was the number 2 in the Washington field office of the FBI, once this came out about a month ago, he left the FBI. He was either forced out or resigned and was escorted out of the building.
It's just incredibly
frustrating, isn't it?
It's incredibly frustrating for an American citizen to hear the way that the people who are supposed to be, blind to politics, justice is blind. That just is not the case right now. And, last question for you, Hans, before we let you go. Do you believe that the Justice Department knows that they have a massive public relations problem on their hands right now?
Well, they may know it, but I don't think they care. You have to understand that the political appointees inside justice for the Biden administration, many of whom I know and have dealt with, unfortunately, for the 20 years I've been in D.C., they don't care. They're in a position of power. They know that they can probably use the law enforcement powers of the Justice Department as a weapon against their political opponents, and I don't think they have any hesitation about doing that.
Well, we appreciate your coverage of this with us, your expertise, and we always look forward to talking to you each week about the latest developments. Do you expect anything out of this Durham trial? Do you expect a conviction of any kind?
If the jury is listening to the evidence and they're they remain nonpartisan, yes, this guy is going to get convicted. By the way, he used to work at the Brookings Institute, a big liberal think tank in Washington, for people who don't know that.
All right. Hans, thank you so much. We love talking to you.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, bye-bye. The senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation, a former FEC commissioner, and a DOJ lawyer. I always appreciate the opportunity to talk to him, and there's usually like 3 times earlier in the week that I'm like, I wish I could talk to Hans about this. So we always love having him on each week here on Thursdays. Let's take a quick break. A reminder, the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. Have you ever been contacted to take a political poll? Yes or no? The Annie Frey Show poll does not count in that. So don't say yes on the poll because you're taking a poll that mine doesn't count. As scientific as our daily poll is, you ever been called? You ever been asked to take a political poll? We would love to know, see what the breakdown is with our little community here on the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. Back in a minute.
Streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I'm high as a kite, I just might stop to check when I'm a walk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Phil Flynn, Senior Market Analyst with Price Futures Group.
OPEC is saying we're doing what we think is good to support prices, and the Biden administration is just going after Saudi Arabia because they don't like them.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Jules on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jules on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jules on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jules on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jules on Hampton your first stop. Jules on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
This station is now conducting a test.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Businesses don't run on automation or algorithms alone. What powers businesses are your people and the people they serve. At Cintas, your dedicated service reps understand what you need to help you keep your employees feeling safe, comfortable, and performing their best. So your business can too. For workwear, essential cleaning products, first aid and safety supplies, and fire protection services, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
For Butch's Coffee. For EJ's Sandwich Shop. For Springfield Family Dental.
Every day, Staples helps every kind of small business create bold signs that sing. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. ends 12/31. Visit staplesconnect.com/thisisyoursign for details.
This month's Zero Res special. The more you clean, the more you save. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129 or 5 rooms starting at $199. A 43% savings. Take $75 off any air duct cleaning package. Call 314-474-2020 or go to ZeroResSTL.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 FM Talk.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Through the curtains of the waterfall. When I lost it, yeah, you held my hand, but I tossed it. Didn't understand you were waiting as I dove into the waterfall. So say
when you look at our most recent NBC poll here and you ask folks, what is the single most important issue that's going to drive your vote in this year's midterm elections? A combined 34% cite either jobs in the economy or inflation. And you combine those two, that's the biggest single number you're going to get. And on that question, the Republicans have a nearly 30-point advantage over the Democrats.
So the economy, that's NBC talking about how Republicans have a political advantage, of course, over the Democrats on the economy. Why? Well, maybe because the Democrats are responsible for this crashing economy. That's one of the reasons why I'd suggest that maybe people are looking for an alternative. Ryan, did you hear the reports about the inflation that we aired at the beginning of the show?
Yes, I did.
Have you worked on that yet? I tasked you with something.
Oh, wait. No, I didn't hear that part then.
What did you hear?
Well, I thought we were talking about inflation, just their latest numbers and stuff.
I said, did you hear what we talked about at the beginning of the show?
Well, I guess I did not.
Were you listening to the beginning of the show?
Yes, I thought I was.
I wonder if you can break down what Fox Business thinks about this.
All right, so we're looking at a month-over-month gain of 0.4%. The estimate was 0.2%. Month-over-month coming in at 0.4%. Year-over-year, 8.2%. That is hotter than expected. Again, coming in month over month, hotter than expected at 0.4%. And again, 8.2% is the headline CPI number for the month of September. That is hotter than expected. Again, if you strip out food and energy, 6.6%. That is your core number year over year. Hotter than expected, guys. Hotter than expected. There goes your markets down 241 points.
It sounds like what they had in mind was something that would be hot, and then this came in a little hotter.
This sounds, if you've been in the business before, this sounds like they were supposed to go to break 45 seconds ago. And she's like, I don't know what else to say. I'll just keep saying the same thing. She said it 5 times. And I thought hotter than expected would be a great tagline for Wiggins America.
Heck yeah, let's do that.
You need to make yourself a promo. I want you by the end of the show to make a Wiggins America promo. See if you can get Big Voice Guy to help you.
Ooh, okay.
So I don't know what JJ is doing, but see if you can get that, or maybe a Big Voice Guy that's walking around the building right now.
That's a shorter order.
A 15-second, 30-second, or something, however long you want to make it.
Just a Wiggins America promo?
Wiggins America, hotter than expected.
Can I use all 5 of those in
I don't care what you
somehow?
do.
I'm going to try to do that.
It's in our folder, clip 3.
Sweet.
I
that
think
sounds
it's
like fun.
Wiggins! Hotter than expected.
Well, since we're pros, you know what's hotter than expected? This.
I think it's been made pretty clear.
No, it hasn't. Because I'm not talking about inflation. I'm talking about this Senate race in Wisconsin. You guys, it is hotter than expected. And let's start with Trafalgar, who we love just because they're accurate, not because we love them, but because they're good at what they do.
Don't make it weird.
Okay. Hopefully Robert C. Cayley is not listening right now because I have ruined that relationship.
And he's making it hotter than expected.
He's making it weirder than expected.
Trafalgar, back at the end of August, had Mandela Barnes, the Democrat, running for Senate in Wisconsin, ahead of Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, which we love saying, by 2 points. And most polls were about there, maybe a little bit more for Barnes there. Over about 3 weeks, Trafalgar came back and said this race has shifted. It has now gone Johnson +2, so we're talking about a 4-point swing there. Since then, they were a little bit ahead of the game. You have seen every major poll catch up to Trafalgar to the point where now even Democrat polls like Data for Progress and PPP are saying that Johnson is in the lead. Now, obviously, they give deference to Democrats, but polls that usually don't are also giving Johnson the lead here by up to 6 points, 5 points, Fox News put it at. So what we're seeing is a big and fast shift in this race, which is not that common. Usually you see little shifts, but this one's pretty big and pretty fast.
You know where you can see a little shift? California.
I beg to differ. I think he's a rather tall man.
I don't think so.
No?
He's about 5'2", I think.
Hannah looked that up.
I didn't
I'm looking it up.
Listen, I didn't know they stacked shift that high.
And bravo to Brad for that one.
He's 5'11".
See?
That's short.
No.
Whoa.
No.
You guys are so easy.
No, we're so mad at you.
Chain pull.
Girls are so picky.
No kidding. You got to be 5'11".
You can be 5'11" and 3/4, but if it doesn't say that's 6
It's
foot,
radio, boys. You can be 6'4" if you want to.
I
Here
am
and only
6'4",
here.
and you know that.
You're
we could be
something
6'4" if we want to, but if you say that we're short, people are going to believe that. I had somebody say to me in a live, "You're way taller than I expected."
I think that we have clearly stated what is their size.
Hannah's just holding, I can't see it. She's holding up a sign. Oh, it says 5'11".
5'11".
Thanks,
you,
Hannah.
I think that you guys have sufficiently proven that you're maybe a little sensitive about your height. Because
No.
if you were 6'4", you would not be.
Listen, the problem is, I got a whole bunch more to say about this Wisconsin thing, too.
You got 3 minutes.
The problem is that Brad's a little bit taller than me, so anything I say is going to look even dumber than whatever Brad says. So let me say this.
What?
I am the American male average height at 5'11". I'm sorry, 5'9".
I am
The American
average.
male average.
The male American average.
That's the opposite of hotter than expected. Or maybe not.
I'll give you
I
that.
don't know.
No, that's fine. I'll give you that. It's not hotter than expected.
it's
It's
America.
exactly as expected.
The American male average.
5'9.2".
Hotter than expected.
And Brad is just slightly taller than that. So,
Well, Brad's 6'2".
no, he's not. How tall are you?
5'11".
See?
Short.
Jerk. What a jerk.
You guys, toughen up.
I'm going to conclude this by saying that because of the way this has shifted, gosh, I love polls. I'm such a nerd. But hey, I'm 6'4", so I can get away with it. Because this has shifted so hard, so fast, hotter than expected, really, Mandela Barnes, the Democrat, is sending up a flare and saying, "Help, I am sinking." And guess who he's trying to reach out to? The only Democrat who, to me, could make a difference at all. Any guesses?
Yes.
Yeah, we know that. You sent us the article.
You told
Oh,
us.
shoot.
Donald Trump.
Tulsi Gabbard. No, it's Barack Obama. They're trying to get Obama to campaign, which, to me, I don't know anybody else who could enter into any race on the Democrat side right now. They're staying miles away from Biden. They're staying miles away from Kamala. Obama's the only one. He's not entering in, so I don't know if he even thinks he can make a difference.
Todd on YouTube says, by the way, Annie is tall.
Annie's roughly the same size as I am, an average human male. I shouldn't have said size.
That's not the right wording.
Size. I mean,
That's
you know.
not right.
No, but you know that I have kind of an hourglass figure.
No, you don't.
Kind of hourglass.
Yeah.
It's just the metal cylinder that's on the outside of the hourglass.
Hotter than expected.
Hotter than expected,
You
man.
know what hotter than expected means? It's all about where the expectations were in the first place.
Yeah, you got to set them low, and then you got to go high.
But listen to NBC on the same issue here.
And finally, year-over-year strip-out food and energy, also hotter than expectations, up 6.6. That follows 6.3, and 6.6 is a new high. The old high was 6.5 in March. That went back to 1982.
Hotter than expectations.
the talking points across the board, I guess.
We said you should be the person who determines the talking point and sends it out to the masses for the news reports.
Sending up a flare. That's my phrase.
Tyrus, when we come back.
The best conversations happen at the kitchen table. So I'm bringing the table to you.
All around our communities, Ann Wagner is meeting with us and hearing our concerns.
Public servants need to listen to you, not the liberal mob. People care about kitchen table issues, like the skyrocketing prices of groceries and gas. And now Biden has you paying for someone else's college loans. Let's stop their madness.
This year, Biden's inflation is costing your home over $10,000. Ann Wagner has seen the harm it's brought to Missouri families firsthand. She knows you work too hard to have your tax dollars wasted by Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi. That's why Ann has a long record of cutting your taxes and fighting the Democrats' out-of-control spending.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message to give you a seat at the table.
Common sense conservative, Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
This is Wiggins. I just went to Andrea's restaurant last night to pick up a gift certificate because it is a great gift. I know, hey, this is the Annie Frey Show, so we talk about Christmas very early. So I'm planting that seed now so that you can already be thinking about Christmas gifts. I was actually getting mine for a birthday gift, but it's a great gift, and it is a great restaurant to eat at. And so I usually like to gift that to people who have not been there, and everybody says, wow, what a great experience. So be a part of that either on the giving side or the receiving side. If you've never been to Andrea's restaurant, you should definitely check it out. I don't care if you live in Missouri. You should make the drive. I've heard many people say that they have, and they were very, very pleased with the experience because it is not just the food. It is an atmosphere that really does not exist anywhere else in the St. Louis area. I always call it like modern jazz or something like that, but it's very, very cool, and you'll love the experience. Andrea's restaurant is in Fairview Heights, O'Fallon, Illinois. See them online at andreas.com.
Odyssey celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month and the trailblazers who made their mark worldwide. Desi Arnaz, Cuban-born actor, musician, and television producer, best known for the television sitcom I Love Lucy, also produced other successful shows like The Andy Griffith Show, The Dick Van Dyke Show, and Star Trek. Desi Arnaz helped define television in the United States, earning him a spot in the Television Academy's Hall of Fame. More on the Odyssey app, and celebrate the sounds and stories of Hispanic heritage at odyssey.com/HHM.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is hiring commercial and residential technicians and installers. Do you have a technical background? Are you mechanically and/or electronically inclined? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis offers a paid training program, company vehicle that you take home, health benefits, competitive pay, starting bonus, and much more. Now hiring commercial and residential technicians. Go to overheaddoorsstlouis.com to learn more. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
KFTK FM Florissant.
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group.
97.1 FM Talk.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
They're zeroing in on the former president, Lisa Brady, Fox News. The House committee probing the Capitol riot offering one more public airing of its evidence.
What did President Trump know? What was he told? What was his personal and substantial role in the multi-part plan to overturn the election?
Committee Chair Benny Thompson, as the panel argues there's an ongoing threat to democracy if Trump and others aren't held accountable. Trump has called the committee treasonous and aimed at preventing him from running again. North Korea fires off another ballistic missile. South Korea says it was sent toward its eastern waters as Pyongyang also flew warplanes near their shared border, prompting South Korea to scramble fighter jets. North Korea said earlier this week that a recent string of missile tests were meant as a warning to South Korea and the U.S. for staging joint naval exercises. President Biden is in California, continuing a Western swing aimed at focusing on his economic agenda, which he insists is making progress despite another worse-than-expected report on inflation. Consumer prices up 8.2% year over year in September.
President Joe Biden releasing a statement saying that inflation over the last 3 months has averaged 2% at an annualized rate, down from 11% the prior quarter. But the president says prices are still too high.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. Republicans say the president's policies are fueling high prices. He argues Republicans will make things worse if they win back control of Congress. The gunman who committed mass murder at a Florida high school will be spared the death penalty.
He's going to go to prison
and he will die in prison. And I will be waiting to read the news on that.
Fred Guttenberg among victims' parents upset by the jury's decision for Nicholas Cruz, who will be sentenced November 1st. He killed 14 students and 3 staffers in 2018. America is listening to Fox News.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service, heating and cooling, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Kind of a windy, chilly afternoon across St. Louis, but lots of sunshine out there. The northwest flow has opened up again. 65 for the high. Tonight, clear and cold, a quick drop out of the 60s this evening, 37 for the low. Friday, sunny. Watch for the winds to pick up again late morning through the afternoon. Friday, 68, a fantastic fall weekend on the way. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Senator Ted Cruz joins the Annie Frey Show now.
One of the most consequential shifts in politics in the last decade has been the socioeconomic flip in politics, that Republicans were the party of the rich and Democrats were the party of the poor and the working class. That has turned on its head. Today's Democrat Party is the party of rich coastal elite.
The Annie Frey Show, weekdays from noon to 3.
So St. Charles Vitae event, it's coming up, and I need you to get your tickets because I want to meet you there and support the amazing work that Vitae Foundation does. It's October 27th, and this is going to be a very special one because Abby Johnson is going to be the keynote speaker. And I'm going to be there to MC the evening, so I would love to sit down and enjoy a wonderful evening for a great cause, an opportunity for you to sign up and support Vitae Foundation. It's an amazing organization right here in the St. Louis area that does work all across the country to make sure that women who are facing the potential decision to have an abortion are given the options, the real options that they have, the real choices that they have. Vitae Foundation is helping save lives every day with people like you supporting them, helping them, and taking a part of wonderful events exactly like this one. It is the St. Charles annual Vitae Foundation pro-life event, October 27th, with the keynote speaker of Abby Johnson. I'll be there as well. Get your tickets right now by going to adsforlife.org.
Hi, this is Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw, Tom's nephew. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. What if it were possible to protect you from market downturns without having to make an emotional decision to buy or sell? What if you could take advantage of a strategy that would automatically take you out of harm's way during the bad years and position you for the growth opportunity during the good years?
The secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. By linking to the market instead of owning the market, you can participate safely on autopilot and lock in your gains without creating a taxable event. Go online at retirementkey.com for a no-obligation retirement review. Learn the strategies that have helped our clients retire with confidence for the past 36 years. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from thegelmanteam.com. If you want immediate cash for your home or to see what your home is actually worth in today's market, find out for free from the local experts. That's my friends Mark and Neil Gelman at thegelmanteam.com.
What's more American than baseball, apple pie, and voting? I'm Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. Voting is our right and our responsibility. On Election Day, November 8th, if you're registered, you can vote by showing a valid photo ID or casting a provisional ballot. Before you vote, research the issues and the candidates. Missouri has accessible, secure, accurate elections. Make your voice heard and vote.
Sponsored by Missouri Secretary of State, sos.mo.gov.
Hi, George Weber. Check out my alter ego, Skip Weber, every Saturday night, 9 to 11. The Saturday Evening Rock Show, the greatest rock and roll show on a talk station in the world. Don't miss it.
Mark Cox.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brian Kilmeade.
How about this?
Annie Fry.
Wow, we really got to change course.
Mark Reardon.
Coming together.
Dana Lash.
I mean, it's 2022.
Listen on the Odyssey app and rewind whenever you'd like.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. It's Thursday already, which is pretty exciting. What was it yesterday that I was talking? I was like, "Oh, we have Tyrus at 1:05," and you're like, "Today's Wednesday, Annie."
It's Wednesday.
He corrected me. So we're going to speak with Tyrus here in just a bit. I wanted to ask. This was spurred by a poll question that I wanted to ask you folks, and I wasn't 100% sure how to word it to make sure that I was really getting to the point of what I was trying to ask. But Brad, real quick before we get to Tyrus, the idea of protesting, have we moved in a direction where protesting is not counterculture anymore? It's kind of like the first thing that you do.
Yes. I've never thought of that before, but yes.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask Tyrus that question. Let's get him on the show.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
Our friend Tyrus, co-host of the Tyrus and Tim podcast. He is on Gutfeld, Fox News contributor, author of his own book, Just Tyrus, a memoir. Back with us. Tyrus, thanks for spending some time with us here. We appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure, and sorry about the cards, but
it hurts.
Man, baseball's been exciting, hasn't it?
It is exciting, and it does hurt, and it's just really even hard to explain because it just did not go the way that we all hoped and expected.
Well, I hate to do this to you, but it's your fault. You told me to come on board, and I tried to warn you.
You did. So, this feels good. Now I have something else. I have a place to shift my emotional blame, and it's on you, Tyrus. Thanks for doing
me. Take it on.
I was talking with Brad about the idea of protesting in this country. There's a lot of things going on that everyday Americans, average Americans, are very frustrated about and, would like to see something change. You can watch, you're in the media, I'm in the media, but we know how the media operates. They kind of direct the narrative or, choose to highlight what stories and topics are key in any given day. But the idea of protesting, the idea of having dissent with what you feel is right and what needs to be going on and wanting to go out there and expressing your American right, freedom of expression, to go out and publicly say to the people in power, to those who are in charge, this is wrong and you need to change. I mean, I wonder if that's even an effective strategy at this point in our history with how frequently we see people protesting issues and things that it's almost so common at this point that it defeats the purpose and the shock value of what the protest was originally designed to do.
Well, what happened was that when you protest for a movement, when you protest for something that you believe is bigger than yourself, and you have embodiment of people around you from different walks of life that come together to fight for women's equality, to fight, and there's a palatable issue that needs to fight for. Those are the ingredients for a protest, but we don't have protests anymore. We have me tests. So somebody doesn't like something because it made it harder for them in terms of we're going to hire this person based on merit, not how they look, and you want to protest over it. That's a me test. That's I'm throwing a temper tantrum. I don't really, and there's not really anything behind it. And we're seeing with all these protests, it's usually a small group of, and typically very narrow-minded. They have no life experience and no wisdom, and they go after establishment because it gets them attention, and two, they have to make up a villain. It's no longer whitey as much as they want it to be now. It's not. We don't have those issues anymore. That's the beautiful thing about the civil rights movement is it worked, and it worked well. That's why you and I are sitting on this show giving our 2 cents. Because there was a time when you were supposed to be in the kitchen and I'm supposed to be in the field or jail. So and it's not just an individual thing, it's a group thing. This country is now about opportunity. So now when you feel like the opportunity is too hard and the short road is, well, I'll just make them change because I don't necessarily want to have what it takes to get there the old-fashioned way, then you see the me tests. So that's what I call them. When I see students who get mad, a small group of students get mad because the new guy is a Republican. And so they go out and they yell, he's got to go because he's a Republican. He hasn't done anything on the job to give them a reason to have an issue with him. So they just are complaining because he's different. Now, we've seen that before, but it wasn't race. If someone looked different than you, you didn't want him in your house, you didn't want him in your neighborhood. Now we're seeing it where it's the same playing card game, but it's with your political belief system. And again, most of the time in life, our politics have very little to do with what we're doing when we're working. So again, it's the me test, and they're weak. They don't have much to it, and they're usually more destructive. And like we saw with the mostly peaceful protests, there's no such thing. It's like saying he's mostly dead. As much as I love The Princess Bride, you're either dead or you're not dead.
Yeah, he's mostly dead.
Mostly dead. Yeah, no.
Can we just do the rest of the interview talking in Princess Bride quotes? Because I can handle that. Tyrus, I think about protesting and how it's used to, it's interesting because protests were used to get people's attention. We are saturated with people who are trying to get everybody's attention. How does somebody, for something that they care about, I'm very pro-life, Tyrus. I went and spoke at a Hope Clinic in Granite City, is right across the river, and they are an abortion facility, and went out and spoke at an event. And that's a protest. And, the people who showed up to this on a Sunday when the facility was closed, they did it on a Sunday specifically to not be disruptive for that particular event. But
that's a peaceful protest.
Yeah, it was absolutely peaceful. It was very peaceful, and it was. We went there to speak on the issue, to talk about it, to pray, and that's what we did. However, I'm wondering on a larger scale, if it's even possible right now, in a world that is 100% focused on getting attention for oneself, how do you get attention for something that really truly is bigger than oneself?
Oh, that is a great question. I don't necessarily know that I have the answer for that, but the what I would imagine would be is that the numbers of people, if you were to march, let's say on Washington, and you had 2,000 people show up to march for pro-life, or if that's what you're trying to get across, and there was marches all over the country. People who necessarily couldn't go to Washington, but they all mobilized at one time. I think that is a movement. That is something bigger than self, to where you see it in the numbers. The numbers back it up. Let's say if there was 2,000 people in every city in America that marched for pro-life on one day during one time, and we saw it, and that ended up being millions of people who showed out, that's a movement. That's something that people feel very strongly about, and that should be listened to. Now, if you said, I'm going to march, and, you had an extreme view on something, and 40 people showed up, that's not a movement. That's a me thing. And we saw that with Chappelle, with the individual who was trying to bring him down with a megaphone and a protest outside, I think it was Netflix, with 6 people there with them. That's that individual trying to benefit from the fear of social justice, because social justice is very different than what you were doing. Social justice, it's not justice, and what we're finding out, it's not very social. It should be.
It's antisocial.
Individual. It's individual canceling is what it is. Is that I can't get there. I want your spot, but I'm not going to earn it, so I'm going to take it away from you. So it's a form of socialism if you really look at it. But so I think it just comes down to how many Americans share your view or are willing to take that moment to protest together. I think when you see that, then you're able to like, okay, this is something that is a movement and is something that we need to address, because chances are there's a lot more people that feel the same way. That's my best guesstimate.
Tyrus with us right now. Check out his book, Just Tyrus, a memoir. It's wonderful. I've read it. Brad here has read it as well. Encourage you to learn a little bit more about Tyrus. You've been with us for so long on the show, and I know people appreciate your time here with us, and this is a great way for people to get to know you better. Just Tyrus, a memoir is the name of his book. I wonder what you feel going forward. I do not think that the status quo of everybody look at me can sustain itself. And I'm raising kids in this culture. You're raising kids in this culture. My number one thing with my kids, above all else, after raising them in a Christian home, which is what we choose to do, is to make sure that they understand how to be good humans. It seems like it's in rare form.
Well, you made a very, very controversial statement right there, and I don't know if we're going to be able to continue our relationship. You just said we choose to do this in reference to what we do, and you didn't expect me to do it. That in itself is what's going to beat the Me movement, because there's just no. If you don't look at it, if you take it away, if you ignore it, if you don't give into it, you don't feed it, because that's what it's based on. It's cannibalism, but it needs fire. And the fire is you responding. The fire is the people bending and apologizing for something that they've made amends for and redeemed themselves for 20 years ago, because it's the individual. And they don't buy anything. They don't affect the economy. They hoodwink these CEOs to believe that somehow they represented a big mass of people. And what we're seeing now is it's always an effect. So I think the height of the Me movement, cancel culture movement, was last year, started 2 years ago and was really going on last year. Now we're seeing the fruits of their labor, and all their fruit is bad. The fruit is bad. Their movies, their concepts have all failed miserably. Box office bombs, comic books that were discontinued, TV series scratched, documentaries dumped. So the bottom line with businesses in a capitalist in our country is, if it makes money, they'll continue to support it because they think there's a consumer. There's no consumer for cancel culture. And unfortunately, it took 2.5 years, and a lot of good people, lives were interrupted, jobs were lost, careers restarted during that. And that's the unfortunate part. But I think we're starting to see a shift to where everyone's realizing that this is just like the Wizard of Oz. Once you pull the curtain back, it's one very loud individual with it, instead of a megaphone, a keyboard. And we're realizing that they don't have the numbers. It's not a movement. So I think we're starting to see a change, and I'm happy about it. And it'll be something that you look back as a silly moment during the pandemic and stuff like that. We just got a little complacent, and we allowed first world problemers to control us when we realized that most of America isn't even on Twitter.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Tyrus, before I let you go, got about a minute left here, though. The whole cancel culture thing started before it was cancel culture. It was started to uphold the idea of diversity. And it turned into the thing that said that if you divert from what we say, you have to accept, and it's not enough to tolerate it. I said this just the other day, but you have to have like the 50 pieces of flair that Jennifer Aniston had to have on her thing at Office Space in order to make sure that everybody understands how virtuous you are. You have to show it. You can't just tolerate it in your heart. You can't be kind to somebody and disagree with their lifestyle. You have to show everybody how much hate has no home here. Otherwise, by default, hate lives in your heart. Diversity was the original point And it's gotten so far away from that I wonder if it will become trendy and counterculture to be cool with people who aren't like you, who don't believe what you believe, who don't walk the life that you walk. If the trend goes in the direction of counterculture, which generally speaking things do, if we could rapidly get back to that idea of just being cool with one another because we're different and making it pretty much that simple.
Okay, well, since we're doing the movie thing, I'll just say this. Anakin Skywalker's whole point was to save his girlfriend. So, and how'd that work out? But here's the thing. If you find out what ended up to happen, then it never was about it in the first place. It never was about diversity. It was about me. It was picking off targets and you were getting national attention. You were being called a warrior. You were being a hero and going after people and exposing them. And because we don't allow redemption, and although they never committed a crime to where they could be arrested for, we needed to have them ruined anyway, because then it becomes a person on the end of a computer that is the judge, jury, and executioner. And we saw that, and I think a lot of people at first were like, well, it's not happening to me, and that, well, they probably did something anyways to deserve that. Now people are starting to see that it was a wolf in sheep's clothing the entire time. It was always about themselves. It was always about self-recognition. It was never about Black Lives Matter. Was never about us black people at all. It was about those individuals using us to get virtue signaling old school money to give them money, and it worked. It was a great con. And cancel culture is a con because with the con artists, they always end up eating their own. And unfortunately, it's going to be a painful lesson, but hopefully a good lesson. And that we'll start to not put so much emphasis on what somebody tweets and put more emphasis on the people that are in front of our face, the people we shake hands with, the people we go to work with, that we have relationships with. Because when I disagree with a lot of my friends who are Democrats, we don't stay on it very long, and then we move on to other stuff and usually end up talking about baseball, or whatever, because we have a friendship. So this whole cancel culture thing, they're trying to save us from themselves. No, it's about them and achieving success without actually off the backs of other people's demise. And I think America is tired of it.
Well, Tyrus, we always love talking to you about it. You always give it to us straight, and we appreciate that. We look forward to talking to you again next week. Not about baseball, more about movies, maybe.
Hey, hell of a game last night.
Yeah.
I tried. The Dodgers and Padres game it was just phenomenal.
Are you pulling for anybody right now? Is there anybody left that you're...
No. So what I do is I say, hey, man, I really hope the Dodgers win to see if my Red Sox jinx is still working. And it worked. It worked.
Okay. Well, I like that. Well,
I'd just like to say, go Yankees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you. I see what you're saying. Tyrus, we'll talk to you again next week. Thank you so much. Yep, I do. We're going to brush that off our shoulder here in St. Louis with Tyrus. That jinx. He did put that jinx on us. I
remember that.
I feel very guilty right now for inviting him to be on the Cardinal bandwagon.
You feel guilty for trying to include him in Cardinals Nation? You should never feel guilty about trying to include people into Cardinals Nation.
This is the difference between Brad and me. This is the best illustration of how each one of us thinks.
This is baseball evangelism right here. And we'll take 2 losses in the postseason if it means that we get a fan for the rest of the next season.
I really wanted to win.
Me too.
I really wanted to win. I still haven't allowed the thought process to enter my brain and to think about it. And I'll tell you what, it's been something that probably in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been able to part with a loss in the postseason a lot easier than I would have before. I'm a huge Cardinals fan. But this one was different because there was a movie being written, and we all got caught up in it. And then it ended. It's just so sad. Let's take a quick break. We'll see if Ryan and Hannah can join us when we come back. We're going to talk a little bit about Hunter Biden and what is going on right now with the Hunter Biden situation, the charges that are surrounding him. What did we know? When did we know it? And does it even matter to you? You can leave your comments on the live chat on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Got quite a crowd over there right now. We would love for you to join them. While you're there in the live chat, vote in today's poll. Have you ever been contacted to take a political poll? Yes or no? We'll be right back with the crew and some conversation on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
Don't you
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
97.1 is your place for full Decision 2022 coverage.
Decision 2022.
Sponsored by Air Comfort Service and TR Hughes Homes on 97.1 FM Talk.
aircomfortservice.com. I want you to check out their website right now. And the one thing that is wonderful about Air Comfort Service, if you need to make an investment in your home and replace the HVAC system, maybe just the furnace, I want you to understand how much Air Comfort Service invests in you in this process by connecting you with any rebate that you can get. Right at the top of their website, you're going to see a part on their website that says coupons. So you go to aircomfortservice.com right now, and you can look into their coupons and discounts. They know that this is a costly endeavor, and when I talked to Corey Malone, when I had to replace my air conditioner, my furnace, my water heater, because my house is about 20 years old, all of the stuff that was put into the home when I bought it, it's all starting to bomb out one after the other. He told me, he's like, we know that this is not an exciting purchase for people when they call us. When you reach out to Air Comfort Service because your HVAC system is on the fritz, your gut clenches and you're just waiting for the bad news. They do everything they can at Air Comfort Service, first and foremost, to deliver you the top quality products, but to do it in a way that understands that you're working in a budget with coupons and discounts available when possible, but also great financing options. All the details that you need online at aircomfortservice.com.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
It's ridiculous over here in Illinois. It really is.
How much worse does it have to get?
So expensive nowadays. I wait to the last minute, hoping that the prices will go down.
How much longer can you wait for relief? Governor Pritzker's doubling of the state's gas tax gave Illinois some of the highest gas prices in the nation. Yet the potholes in Chicago could swallow a CTA bus. Now Pritzker is forcing businesses to lie to their customers for his benefit.
Only thing Illinois is doing is delaying a gas tax increase and calling that a tax cut.
In Illinois, you have to sue to be able to tell the truth.
Gas station owners in Illinois are suing the state over a new law they claim violates their free speech rights.
How much longer will you be made to play the fool? In the last 4 years, Pritzker added another $2,165 to the tax burden Illinois families shoulder, which was already the highest in the nation. How much more of Pritzker can you afford? How much worse does it have to get before you make a change? Paid for by people who play by the rules, PAC.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is without any inspections or need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-782-8000 or at chrisbuyshomesaintlouis.com and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay their rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com, Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, or call 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And get the offer you have been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. Chris Buys Homes in St. or call 314-782-8000.
I was walking down the street the other day, trying to distract myself, but then I see your face. Oh wait, that's someone else. Trying to play it decoy, trying to make it disappear. But just like the Battle of Troy, there's nothing settled here. In my room there's a king-size space, bigger than it used to be. If you want
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Even if it's in my
Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Ooh, it's taking up a fraction of my mind. Oh, every time I watch you serpentine. Oh, I'm trying.
We were going to come into this segment earlier, but Ryan loves the song.
I do.
He does.
I didn't know what it was. I asked, and you said Selena Gomez, and I felt a little bit of shame.
It's a fantastic song. I think I've been playing it on the show for like 3 years.
Yeah, I just noticed.
I haven't put it in a while.
Yeah.
The problem is I felt shame because I just started watching Only Murders in the Building, which also stars Selena Gomez. I feel like I'm, kind of on a Selena Gomez kick now, and I didn't intend to be.
Swapping out Shania Twain for Selena Gomez?
Yeah, got to trade up.
He does that every so often.
Rude to Shania Twain.
Yeah, I mean...
Trade up.
She knows. She knows how I feel about her. Made that very clear.
What if she did?
If Shania Twain called in right now, I would walk out of this studio. There's no way I would talk to her because I feel so terrible about what I just said.
That you were going to trade up from Shania Twain to Selena Gomez?
Yeah.
Shania Twain is fantastic.
She is.
Yes.
I agree. I should trade.
You should stop
Let's
talking.
go, girls.
For Shania Twain. Now Selena Gomez.
There's only one natural way to go from here. Let's talk about Hunter Biden.
Do you believe this guy once worked for an outfit that has the word intelligence in it? I'll agree with him about the media. They ran with this letter, but not the laptop, like it was the truth. But that's exactly what they were expected to do once a letter like this from 50 experts gave them the cover they needed. It gets worse.
He said it plainly on a debate stage that obviously affected the dynamic. Don't you think?
I would absolutely love for all news media to show nuance on all these issues instead of racing to sound bites.
Dude, there were no sound bites. The facts were taken from the letter you co-wrote, which again, you was the plan all along. No one writes a letter to be ignored, like the ones I get from Kilmeade's lawyer all the time.
Gutfeld, this is one of the things I love about him. They talk about the real issues, but they get you laughing. Here's the second part.
So this is just a glimpse of who was involved in this fraud. Now multiply this dimwit by 50. The ends justify the means. You can lie to the American people and there's no consequences. But that's 50 reasons why you got to go vote and take control of the House. Because every single signer of that letter needs to be questioned just like that. Like, who asked them to do this? Were they paid? Did they deduct that contribution from their taxes? But I credit this guy for at least showing his face in public.
So here's the question, and I'm gonna ask it in the words of STVB on the Annie Frey YouTube channel right now. Why should we care about Hunter Biden? He's not president and is not part of the administration. No evidence that Joe had anything to do with Hunter's business while he was in government. STVB, here's what I would say to that. There was no evidence that Donald Trump did anything to collude with Russia. Yet here we are in 2022, 6 years later, with trials taking place in Washington, D.C. to talk about who did what and when in order to make a non-story a story. Why is it that Donald Trump has had to suffer through all of this when people knowingly provided information to a FISA court to spy on Carter Page? False information existed in there. The FBI gave Igor Danchenko $1 million offer to prove that the allegations in this dossier were accurate. He couldn't do it. But yet, in our society today, Donald Trump is subject to all of the whims of the Democratic Party and everywhere that they have their tentacles firmly wrapped around all of these different entities in order to make sure not that the truth gets out, but that the narrative stays the same. That is fact. That has happened. That has been proven, that false information made it all the way through a FISA court so the United States government could spy on somebody. Carter Page. It's proven that took place. They haven't even begun to dig into publicly. Who knows what they know privately? I'm more worried about what they know privately, that they have withheld that information from investigations that potentially could come out in the open. I would like to trust the investigative departments in our country to look into these things and keep it close to the vest until they're ready to make charges. But I don't trust them to have the interests of the American people at hand to be able to say Hunter Biden was doing business dealings in China, being delivered to China on Air Force Two, and coming home with the most lucrative deal of his life. This is after working in Ukraine with his energy business, Burisma, that he had no energy experience, making like $80,000 a month in this whole sweetheart deal when Joe Biden was present in Ukraine and forceful in Ukraine about the way that this entire process was going to work itself out with the corruption that was existing in the Ukraine government. Joe Biden was making public threats about what was going to happen and who needed to be fired in Ukraine. He had a lot of influence there, and now Hunter Biden has an incredibly lucrative deal with an energy company he has no expertise. There are questions that you don't even need to know all the details to raise your eyebrow and go, well, that seems sketchy. And everybody who's paying any attention whatsoever could say if they had the same details on any of the Trump kids, that this would be a landmark story that would actually have some legs to it. There are things that need to be investigated, and maybe at the end of a real legitimate, nonpartisan, unbiased, objective investigation, maybe what we end up finding out is that Hunter Biden is free and clear, but nobody trusts the people in charge right now. Nobody trusts the investigators right now to dedicate themselves to looking into truth and exposing corruption on behalf of the American people. What we expect is for their efforts to be on behalf of the people in power who they align with. And there is a lot of evidence to suggest that that's actually true. Brad, why do we care about Hunter Biden?
We care about Hunter Biden because there's emails on his laptop that are linking him to Joe Biden and these trades. There's voicemails on his laptop that are linking him to Joe Biden and these
corroborating
deals.
Stories with Tony Bobolinsky,
Yes.
who's on record as a witness saying Joe Biden's the
So
big guy.
we care about that because Joe Biden was in office. He was vice president at the time, and his son allegedly was peddling his name for influence. It was a pay-to-play scheme. This is a big deal because that means that affects U.S. policy. U.S. policy was affected by, or possibly or allegedly affected by Hunter Biden's actions in these companies. And he was using his dad to do it. His dad stepped in front of the microphone when he was running for office. He said, I had no idea what was going on with Hunter's business dealings. Then the laptop drops. There's voicemails of him talking about it, talking to him. There's pictures of him with these people. Joe Biden absolutely knew. Why would Joe Biden lie about that? Well, he lied about it. You could maybe infer that he had something to do with it. So there's a lot more here linking Joe Biden to this, and enough for us to look into it, to just look. Let's roll back the curtain a little bit. Let's see what's behind this curtain. Let's see if there is any there. That's why we care about it.
Do you remember the Steele dossier and the P-tape, the suggestion that there was some sort of like sexual weirdness going on with Donald Trump in Russia with like prostitutes? That was a whole discussion that was had. It was leaked out, and people were discussing this. And why was that of concern? Why, if you look at the Democratic Party, who was supposed to be the party that was like, whatever you're into, you just go ahead, just you do you. Get everybody out of your bedroom. You do what you want. I mean, those are their rules, not mine. If you remember why that was such a big deal, it's because that's the type of stuff that people bribe you with. The kind of thing that in a political global community where these people have excess resources and in many cases very questionable morals across the world, if you get something like that, if you have a tape that shows something incredibly unsavory about an individual who is going to then be entrusted with the important responsibility to represent Americans in government and to make big decisions behind closed doors on behalf of the security, the safety, and the economy of the American people, if something like that exists, it becomes a possibility that could be used against that person to say, you will do what we want or we will destroy you. You will adhere to what we are asking you for, or we will release whatever we have to the world and take everything you have away. That was a big part of the Russia collusion story, the dossier, and all the salacious weirdness that came along with that, was to say that Donald Trump was in bed with Russia, figuratively or literally, in a way that compromises the safety and security of the United States of America. That was the allegation. Enter Hunter Biden's laptop and the understanding that he has an incredible drug problem, an incredible lack of respect for money and finances, buying prostitutes on on Joe Biden's debit card. If you don't know about that, go watch the special Who is Hunter Biden on FoxNation.com. He is incredibly compromised. And I got to think, if my child was behaving in a way that Hunter Biden was behaving, my love for my child would supersede my love for anything else. I would want to do everything I could to protect him. Would that raise an eyebrow for people who want to know what Hunter Biden was into and how deep it goes, considering the fact that Joe Biden brought Hunter Biden into his political responsibilities on Air Force Two, on trips to foreign countries? That then becomes the business of the American people. It's really simple. And all of this, it's impossible to, even though they shut it all down from Americans to consume, it was still that pervasive. And to suggest that Hunter Biden isn't the business of the American people is incredibly naive to think that anybody's actually going to buy into that. What you should say is, I still like Joe Biden more than Donald Trump, and I'm glad I voted for him. Just say that. Just own what you really mean there, because you can't, with an intellectual position, suggest that the American people have no interest in what Hunter Biden is doing or has done. Ryan, is there a possible argument that could be made that Hunter Biden isn't the business of the American people?
There's really no, after he started getting money from foreign governments, then there's really no way, because what you're saying then is that if the son of a president or even a close relative of a president or vice president at the time receives money from a foreign government, that the foreign government is only in it because they just see so much value in that person, which is naive to think, even of somebody who's not addicted to drugs, to think that they could buy Donald Trump's kids or George W. Bush's kids things, and you wouldn't go, okay, it's because their dad's a politician, because their dad's got a lot of influence in the United States. That's so obvious that to think otherwise is absolutely burying your head in the sand. Now, with Hunter Biden, everybody knows that guy is not a business genius. So to hire him from the Ukrainian government / socialist companies within the Ukrainian government to be on their board, to be an advisor, or the Chinese government companies within China with ties to the government, to give him a lot of money and bail him out of bad situations, which is what that was, for then to be no quid pro quo, that they weren't expecting anything in return, is ridiculously naive.
Well, Art on YouTube says, same with the Trump kids, Annie. Crickets on that, though. Let's talk about that when we come back.
Yes.
Stick around on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Your conversation is welcome there. Challenge us, agree with us, distract us. We're up for it, whatever. Clearly. The YouTube live chat poll, though, today. Have you ever been contacted to take a political poll? Yes or no? This poll doesn't count. The daily YouTube live chat poll is not included in what we're asking. Have you ever been called and asked, hey, we'd like to know what you think. Would you have a few minutes? Can we have a few minutes of your time? Go vote on the Annie Frey YouTube channel in the live chat section. We'll be back on St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk 97.1 FM Talk in just a minute.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFrey Show.
Mark Reardon Show.
Phil Flynn, senior market analyst with Price Futures Group.
OPEC is saying we're doing what we think is good to support prices, and the Biden administration is just going after Saudi Arabia because they don't like them.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Stewart's American Mortgage is waiting for your phone call, and when I say that, and the number I'm about to give you, that's Stewie's number. You're going to call or text this number. Say, Annie was mentioning the bagel loan, would like to know if it can help me, and you're going to get directly connected to Stewie. That's how simple it is, and that's how confident he is in his ability to do business for you and, to partner with us to make sure that you get connected to the very best. 314-324-4440. When you use the bagel loan with Stewie, you pay zero in fees that every other lender out there is going to charge you for. The thing about working with Stewart's American Mortgage and Stewie himself is that he understands the old-fashioned way of how business is done, and especially in the mortgage industry, how far of a departure most people have gotten from that. They want to do quantity, turn and burn, process as many different opportunities as they possibly can. That's how they make money. Stewie does it differently. He works directly with you and helps you save money because of it. Call or text 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Mark Cox here with a real estate update and insight from my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria says, look, sitting on the sidelines may not be the best strategy moving forward in a continually shifting market. Homes aren't selling as fast, and in most cases, price reductions are becoming pretty common. Gloria also says that earlier this year, with low inventory, sellers didn't need a strategy to sell because homes were listed and sold immediately. Now more than ever, though, it is crucial to have a proven strategy to get your home sold. That's why I strongly suggest you call Gloria Liu before you list your home to get the absolute most money. Get this, Gloria is so confident she'll sell your home, she will guarantee in writing up front to sell it at your agreed to price and time frame, or she will buy it. Call her at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Where do you go for your annual eye health examination? Ophthalmology Associates, of course. Doctors Greg Birdie and Ranjan Malhotra. Dr. Robert Bersati, he's the one I saw. Or Dr. Andrew Royer. They are available to you and are there to take care of all your vision needs at Ophthalmology Associates. They're on Manchester Road, a half mile west of 270. Your vision is their business at Ophthalmology Associates. In fact, many of their patients are doctors themselves. That's why they call themselves the doctors, Ophthalmology Associates. Are your eyes itchy and scratchy? It could be more than just allergies. They're the leaders in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. They're the leaders in LASIK and discussing those procedures. And if you're having difficulty reading or driving at night, you have glare from oncoming headlights, could be early signs of cataracts, and they can talk to you about multifocal lens implants. Ophthalmology Associates, youridoc.com.
Updating your home with James Hardie Siding has never been more popular. With all of the options available, you need a partner to maximize your investment. The rising prices on vinyl siding has made Hardie Siding a great alternative. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or totally transform the look by installing Hardie Shake, board and batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today.
Let the Dave Munganast Pre-Owned Center on South Limburg put you behind the wheel of your next vehicle. Customers are seeing that when you choose the Dave Munganast Pre-Owned Center in South County, you're getting more than a great deal. You're joining the Munganast family. Come see the difference at davemunganast.com since 1965.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their honor flight today at gslhonorflight.org, and for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Bringing you up-to-the-minute traffic like nobody else. Sue Thomas and dependable traffic, driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
On a boat, on a beach, in the water, in the sand, in the back of a bar, cold beer in your hand.
Breaking hearts, breaking necks when we rolling down the street. Heads turning all day when they see you with me. I'm thinking everybody better stand in line, 'cause
So here's the question posed to us by Art on our YouTube live chat. He is a common dissenter, but generally very respectful, so we appreciate him and anybody else who wants to join us there in the chat. But he wants to know, what's the difference between what Hunter Biden is doing and what Ivanka, he typed Ivana, and I wondered if he meant Ivanka. Ivanka Trump has done, Jared Kushner. I mean, if we're going to talk about Hunter, then let's talk about those kids as well. Listen, first and foremost, before I turn this over to Wiggins, okay, if I agree to go all in on investigating the Trump kids, do you agree that Hunter Biden absolutely deserves to be under investigation for anything he's done to trade on his father's power and authority in American government? Handshake agreement. Let's do both.
Yeah, absolutely. So I too, have looked into this issue because I think that
Once I can't not hear Abu.
Abu. I'm right here now.
I'm going to post the link to that YouTube short of ours when we were talking about haunted walking tours.
The best.
So funny.
So I think back in April is when I actually wrote an article about this, because there are similarities between what Hunter Biden and specifically Jared Kushner have done in getting investments from foreign countries. And both of them are kind of slimy looking. I don't want to gloss over that. These aren't things that you do in the open because they help you politically or they help you with the public. They're gross. But there's a way to do them that's legal, even if a little shady looking, and there's a way to not do them. And so the similarities between the two with Hunter and Jared Kushner is that they both have received millions of dollars from foreign governments, Hunter with Ukraine and China, Jared Kushner with Saudi Arabia. Hunter has openly acknowledged that his name is the only reason that he's received this money.
And not really, I wouldn't say openly acknowledged. He
has acknowledged.
He wrote it in an email to his business partners, and then he casually gave his laptop.
Yeah, okay. So he acknowledged it to others who then have made it public.
Which I would say is actually an even more honest admission.
I agree.
Because it's not written in a way that is manufactured for the public to consume. It's a conversation with a business colleague.
Yeah. And Jared Kushner did so despite the Saudi panel expressing issues with Kushner's inexperience. So that should be acknowledged, that they're not saying Jared Kushner is a brilliant businessman. They're acknowledging, no, this is because he has connections. Now, that's where the similarities end, though. The differences here are that, number one, Trump and Kushner, by association, were wealthy before entering politics. They have a track record of business, and the Bidens became wealthy after entering politics and have only become wealthy because of politics. Number two, Jared Kushner set up this fund last year, 2021, at a time specifically when his father, Donald Trump, was neither in office.
In-law, but yes.
In-law. Neither in office nor officially running for office. Even if he has ambitions to run again, he officially was not in or running at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. That's an important legal distinction. Number three, Hunter made his money while his father was a sitting U.S. senator and vice president and an active presidential candidate. That's a huge difference. And the last one, real quick here, is that multiple times on that laptop, Hunter references his father getting a cut of any money he received. We assume that's who he's talking about when he says big guy. That is a direct line to Joe Biden.
That is the absolute distinction in this. Do we know that nothing like that ever happened with Donald Trump? No, but we have evidence.
Yes.
And a witness statement from Tony Bobolinsky, who is a business partner of theirs, who says that the big guy in that email, 10% of the big guy, is Joe Biden, which means that, to your point, why do we care about Hunter Biden? Because it's connected to the president of the United States directly. Like, the benefits of what was being done on a global scale benefited the man who is the president of the United States. However, to Art's point, I think, would it be possible to say that in this room that nepotism in politics sucks, and the fact that people are getting, like, this was a huge reason why people might be seeking offices of power that absolutely have nothing to do with what's good for you and me?
100%. We all agree on that. That this stuff is gross, no matter what it even if it's legal, if they're doing it legally, it's still slimy.
Yep. I would agree. Art, I hope that satisfies your need for that conversation. I think it satisfied mine. And he said, too, when I said, would you agree that we should go all in on both? He said 100% yes.
That's fair. Now we'll see if that happens.
I don't think it's going to
happen.
happen.
See if it happens. I don't know.
All right. Well, stick around. We got more Annie Frey Show coming around the corner here in just a minute. Have you ever been contacted to take a political poll? Yes or no? Tell us on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. We'll discuss that when we come back and a few other fun things in just a minute on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. You're in the right place. You always have been. We'll be right back.
The football season is building up, and so are your carpets, floors, and even air ducts with all that dirt and dander. So it's time to call Zero Res and beat the holiday rush and save. Appointments are booking up fast. Be sure to call my carpet heroes at Zero Res. And before you turn on your furnace too much this winter, do you know how much built-up dirt, dander, and other allergens are lurking in the air duct system? You can do something about it because your home will never really get clean if those ducts are pumping it full of years of built-up dust, dirt, and allergens. And every surface Zero Res cleans is specifically designed to preserve and maximize the life of your investments in your home or your surfaces in your home. This month's Mark Reardon special is the more you clean, the more you save. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 or 5 rooms starting at $199. That's a 43% savings. Book now to get the best carpet cleaning deal of the season. And don't forget about those air ducts, $75 off any air duct cleaning package. The deals won't last long. Beat the rush and book today. Call Zero Res 314-474-2020 or online at ZeroResSTL.com and say you want the Mark Reardon special. And right now, Zero Res is hiring. Zero Res, spell it backward or forward, it spells the same.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
If you're retiring soon, join us Saturday at 9:30 a.m. for your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Are you or someone you know seeking help for a substance use disorder in Franklin County? Prevent Ed's free peer support service can connect clients with the medication-assisted treatment provider. Our certified peer specialists guide you through the process and ensure transportation to appointments and to pick up medication. Clients can generally be seen by a treatment provider in 24 to 36 hours. Access this free service at 314-246-9788 or at prevented.org/peers.
This is a great time of the year to upgrade the energy efficiency in your home with my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here to tell you more about my experience with Window World. They replaced a couple of windows at my house. They were just panes of glass. We wanted to be able to get some airflow into the master bathroom. They came out, they gave us a free estimate, and then had the windows at seams installed in no time. Very professional, lifetime warranty I get, and you get an extra double strength glass on their replacement windows that's not common. So you're getting a great price, simply the best for less. They do front entry doors, rear entry doors if you're looking to replace that back door or sliding glass door in your home. They've got a great selection at Window World. They're also right now offering 18 months, same as cash financing, of course, with approved credit. The preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. 314-993-1800, windowworld.com.
KFTK FM Florissant.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group.
97.1 FM Talk.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
More pressure on the former president. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The House committee probing the Capitol riot holding its final scheduled hearing and is now expected to hold a vote on issuing a subpoena to former President Trump.
A key lesson of this investigation is this: our institutions only hold when men and women of good faith make them hold, regardless of the political cost.
Wyoming Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney, who lost a primary over the summer, as the panel argues there was a multi-point plan to overturn the election and that Trump should be held accountable. The former president has called the committee's work illegal and politically motivated. The best comeback in years on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow is up more than 900 points. A swing of more than 1,400 points. The market's tanking earlier when the new inflation report came out.
Overall, inflation was 2% over the last 3 months. That's down from 11%
over the prior 3 months.
President Biden focusing on the more positive quarterly number. For September, the increase was worse than expected and up 8.2% year over year. At an event in California where gas prices topped $6 a gallon in some areas, the president says he'll announce more work on reducing gas prices next week. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis echoing criticism from some victims' parents after a jury decided against the death penalty for Nicholas Cruz, who killed 17 people at a high school in 2018.
I think that if you have a death penalty at all, that is a case where you're massacring those students with premeditation and utter disregard for basic humanity, that you deserve the death penalty.
A unanimous decision was needed for capital punishment, one or more jurors deciding that aggravating factors did not outweigh mitigating factors after defense claims of fetal alcohol damage and abuse. America is listening to Fox News.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service, heating and cooling, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Kind of a windy, chilly afternoon across St. Louis, but lots of sunshine out there. The northwest flow has opened up again. 65 for the high. Tonight, clear and cold, a quick drop out of the 60s this evening, 37 for the low. Friday, sunny. Watch for the winds to pick up again late morning through the afternoon. Friday, 68, a fantastic fall weekend on the way. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Stay connected to everything happening in the world, the country, and the community.
Just look at this. What is the top issue among likely voters, those likely to turn out 33 days from now? The economy and inflation overwhelmingly.
Your home for conservative talk.
The Fed is going to raise rates. That's going to be perilous for the economy. There's nothing much else they can do because they waited 15 months while they lied to us about how transitory inflation was.
This is 97.1 FM Talk.
Would you give my friends at the Diamond Shop a visit? You can go onto their website right now, or you can visit them in Clayton. The Diamond Shop has been a destination for jewelry shoppers since 1910. That is quite a legacy, and there's a reason why the folks at the Diamond Shop have been able to maintain such great customer service for this long. It's because they have great customers. It's because of people like you, people who care about value, of course. But when you go to invest your hard-earned dollars into a beautiful piece of jewelry, you want it to be right. You have high expectations for that. And the Diamond Shop understands that. They know that they need to meet your needs with a great quality piece at a great value. The Diamond Shop is there to deliver. And in order to make this an easier process for you, 6 months, same as cash. So if you're looking to buy a Christmas gift, if you're looking to maybe buy a Valentine's Day gift, now is a great time to go in there and pick out the piece or talk about the design that you are looking to achieve, because they can meet your expectations and exceed them. Go visit my friends for your jewelry purchase at the Diamond Shop online right now at thediamondshop.net.
Struggling to find common ground with a business? Everyone knows how difficult it can be to solve marketplace problems on your own. Wouldn't it be amazing if there was a way to resolve your dispute in days or weeks, not months or years? And wouldn't it be nice if this service was provided at no cost? Use Better Business Bureau Dispute Resolution. BBB works as a mediator to help you find a win-win. When you have a problem without a solution, choose BBB for dispute resolution.
Have you always dreamed of a lush green lawn? Get that beautiful curb appeal without the hassle by calling Professional Irrigation Systems. They'll install your new automatic lawn sprinkler system and give you a variety of options and warranties. Don't spend half your day.
If I'm unmuted, I want to speak from the heart for a minute, because I don't get a chance to do this on a regular air.
I really feel like one thing that we all collectively should be doing is liking the YouTube video. And if we're not
with your heart,
with my butt,
with your thumb.
You probably didn't hear the question that Annie asked there, which I responded to. And I think it's probably best that you don't. I just, again, I want to speak from my heart right into your soul and tell you that if you are liking the YouTube video right now, that our relationship is strained. And it pains me to say that, like I said, from both my heart and my mind. Bye.
Can you please make it clear what you're asking people to do? Because I don't think you've actually.
Maybe
use the word smash.
They're also here. This is going. No wait. This is going so awry that people are like, Ryan, your microphone is on. We know. We did that.
Let's start this over. Smash that like button. Yo, whoa, 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 whoa. Everybody, we're on live now. We're on YouTube. Smash that like button and totally become our good friend. Hey.
What I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I don't know what just happened in here. But Ryan, what is it like in your brain?
Have you ever seen a...
I love how you have a ready answer for this.
Confident one, too.
Have you ever seen a beautiful fireworks display?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably about 10 times better than that.
But
that
just 10.
I am both beautiful on the inside and outside and very, very patriotic. And therefore, what I'm saying is that I'm better than 4th of July. I can't give what I'm saying.
I think that's a perfect explanation to the answer to my question.
I don't know what you're going to ask.
I thought you were going to give like a sound effect when she said what goes on inside your head. I thought you were going to have a...
Nope. No sound effects.
Just fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go.
What about what's going on inside of this man's brain?
American soldiers of the 10th Mountain Division scaled that 1,800-foot cliff at night, caught the Germans by surprise, captured key positions, and broke through the German defense line at a pivotal point in the war. Just imagine, I mean it sincerely, I say this as a father of a man who won the Bronze Star, the Conspicuous Service Medal, and lost his life in Iraq. Imagine the courage, the daring, and the genuine sacrifice they all made.
What did he just say there?
I believe that he said that his son died in Iraq.
The Bronze Star, the Conspicuous Service Medal, and lost his life in Iraq.
Yeah, there's no other way to interpret that.
We'll do it one more time. Out of deference, the whole clip of what the President of the United States is talking about.
American soldiers of the 10th Mountain Division scaled that 1,800-foot cliff at night, caught the Germans by surprise, captured key positions, and broke through the German defense line at a pivotal point in the war. Just imagine, I mean it sincerely, I say this as a father of a man who won the Bronze Star, the Conspicuous Service Medal, and lost his life in Iraq. Imagine the courage, the daring, and the genuine sacrifice they all made.
Lost his life in Iraq.
I say this as the father of a son who won the bronze, or who earned the Bronze Star, was awarded the Bronze Star. I don't remember what the other medal was.
Conspicuous medal?
Conspicuous?
I don't know what he said.
And who lost his life in Iraq.
Unless there's a son we don't know about, I would assume he's talking about Bo, who did not lose his life in Iraq.
Is there I'm thinking out loud here. Is there a connection between
That was bad.
Is there a connection between Beau Biden, the cancer that he had, and the burn pits? Do you guys know about burn pits?
I know about the burn pits.
If you've heard about burn pits, but you're not really super familiar with it, I hope I do this justice with a quick, brief explanation. But essentially, in the war that was taking place, they were creating bases that were near burn pits locally that were burning all sorts of things, and the chemicals that were being created that in the air that were a part of the daily life of the people who are stationed there has caused a whole host of incredible medical problems. The only thing that I can think of is that he's trying to connect the two, because Beau served, but he did not die in Iraq.
No.
That is not, if you have somebody in your family, a loved one who died in Iraq, if you have somebody who is a loved one who died in Afghanistan, which here in St. Louis we do, Jared Schmitz, have somebody who was lost under Joe Biden's watch in Afghanistan. What is this president talking about? What is he thinking about that he so freely speaks in this way that is, I am, before I go on this, my assessment of this man's mental health, I'm not a medical person who is capable of doing that, but what is going on? I think we have the right to know.
Yeah, the problem is this isn't just a misspeak, because if it were, because it happens to everybody, obviously we misspeak all the time. It happens. So you got to have some generosity with it.
Some of us
more than others.
More than others.
And I don't know who that would be.
It's Hannah.
Yeah,
Hey.
it's Hannah. She's conceited.
Conceited. We know.
If she weren't so full of herself.
But there's a pattern here with Joe Biden where he will insert himself or his family into things that didn't happen. That what it looks like is that he's trying to make a political point personal that's not real. And this falls into that category.
That's scary.
Remember when he did the, well, I was a trucker for 15 years, or whatever that one was. You're like, Joe, you've never been a trucker before? That kind of stuff he does all the time. And so this one looks like another one of those, grabbing something that didn't really happen, personalizing it into a fake story for political purposes, I guess.
This wasn't a stutter. He was confident in saying that.
Yeah. So the question is was it, like a hiccup in his brain, or was he just out and out lying about it? You know? And he does have a history of out and out lying, but he also has a history of hiccups in the brain.
Yeah.
And it makes it really difficult to understand what's going on there. And I think, Annie, to your point where you're saying, I'm not a doctor and I can't make a diagnosis. You don't have to make a diagnosis here. You can look at, like, if you looked at a finger that was bent the wrong way, you can say something's not right there. You don't have to diagnose it, Same thing here. You listen to what he says, and the frequency of what he does and how he does this, and you can say, something's not right here. We need to figure out what it is.
How in the world, and I say this as somebody who can put myself in the position, in the context of my life, to make this judgment on somebody. How in the world does Jill Biden sleep at night? How do you not? How did you not? Maybe it's baked in the cake now. It is what it is, and you're just trying to figure out how to get off the stage in the most natural way possible. How does Jill Biden sleep at night knowing what she knew? Because this was an issue before the election. Let's not pretend that there's been a concern that has developed shockingly over the course of the last year after Joe Biden took office, where people are going, is he good? There's a huge conversation right now. Should the administration celebrate Joe Biden's 80th birthday? It's right around the corner. And they're saying, we're going to do a small acknowledgement. Imagine turning 80 years old, having a big family that would want to, in theory, celebrate your 80th birthday, and having to put it in a small context simply because it's an indicator to everybody else that he's every bit of 80. You know people that are 80 years old who do not act like Joe Biden. It's not the fact that he's 80. It's the fact that he's saying things like his son died in Iraq, among a whole host of other things. There is not an instance where this president, name one, where he's come out into the public, gone in front of a reporter, discussed something in any sense that can be consumed through media in a public way where he has looked sharp. Not one time has the president of the United States gone out in front of anybody and made you feel like this is his administration. Not a single time. We are, on this show from noon to 3, I would say a little kinder to the sympathies of seeing what's happening in this context. I specifically choose not to use it as a way to dunk on the man because it actually hurts my heart to see somebody out there like that. And I look to Jill Biden, the one person on the planet who should have said, absolutely not. I know how much you want this, Joe. It's not, it can't happen. It can't happen. And to tell all the people around who would be pulling Joe in, you got to do this. We need you, Joe, to tell them, no. I know what this man is experiencing right now. You would think that the wife would be the person who would know this the most. Jill Biden knew, and she didn't stop it. Did she try? Maybe we'll find out someday she did. It's so sad to see, and it's sad to watch, and it's sad that power in this capacity is so much more important than everything else that's on the table. Forget about like the country and the office of the presidency and how this affects us. Think about being inside your family and knowing that somebody in your family needs to be protected. And you do this because you love them, more than any of the other stuff. And then you have a hard conversation with somebody who you love and you do it for their own benefit and you protect them because that's what family does. And family isn't always blood. That has not happened here. And it is incredibly sad to watch. And so when I look at this, if I'm going to dunk on Joe Biden, it's because his policies are horrid. It's because what he's putting into plan through executive orders and through signing legislation is a disaster for the country. And he deserves every bit of hard criticism for that because he is serving in the role of the president of the United States. But if you set all of that aside and you look at a man who's been put in a position to... There's no way that he was going to go into this and not fail in the PR part of being the president of the United States. But it was more important to the people who had to put him there than it was to protect this man. And the only people who are supposed to stand in front of that are his family. And they didn't.
I think it's actually one of the reasons they give him a lot of angry speeches. It's because they realize he can't do the connect with the average person thing. So I think they've decided, well, he can go out there and kind of pound a podium and yell a little bit still. So let's have him do that, which is really unfortunate because it's really speaking to all the things. If that's true, it's speaking to all the things you're talking about, Annie. If you're that limited with what you can do, let's say that he actually can do those speeches better than others. What you're doing is then dividing the nation further because you decided to go after a guy who is that incapable of uniting the nation through average means. There are so many handicaps, for lack of a better word, that he has, that I think they have to use him in such tiny capacities that it's even the things he's good at are harming the nation when he goes out and yells like that.
But what good reason could Jill Biden have to have let this happen, to allow him to go out in front of people?
Just power.
The only good reason that she could potentially justify is that this was a sacrifice their family had to make to save the country from Trump. I mean, and if you decide that it's worth it,
I mean, that plays.
I can't imagine saying that you will do this on the back of my husband, who will be a part of American history. But let's not pretend for a second that there aren't people who would say, absolutely, this is 100% better. Hands down, don't care if he's even, in an aware state of mind. He could be comatose, and I still would have voted for him over Trump. Absolutely, there are people who would have done that. Millions of them.
Yeah.
I just don't agree with it.
Yeah, I can't for the life of me justify that in my brain. that she would allow her husband to be just set out there like that, to be used. He's being used up. He's not just being used. He's being used up. You can watch the decline. He's way worse now than what he was when he first took office. And it's tangible. I mean, I still stand by the thing. I don't think he's going to finish his term.
I'm not convinced that he is either. And I think that the Hunter Biden charges are happening now so that he can pardon him and get that done and then be done. Hunter Biden has to be charged he has to be convicted. He has to be found guilty in order to be pardoned. You can't pardon somebody for something that hasn't gone through the litigation process. I think they charge Hunter now, find him guilty of things that are below the grade of what we were discussing in the last segment that Ryan was breaking down, the uncomfortable understanding of potential nepotism that has made children of presidents rich. And Ryan was talking about some of the business dealings of Ivanka and Jared Kushner, but also specifically of Hunter and how the Hunter conversation does connect directly to Joe Biden. You can take Hunter Biden, you can charge him for tax fraud, you can charge him for falsely filling out a gun form, you can charge him for those that the news gets to cover how Hunter Biden has been found guilty and blah, 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 and never even touch the issues that actually should matter to the American people, which is, did he trade on the taxpayer's dime? And was the president of the United States involved? Charge him now on those lower crimes. President Biden pardons him. President Biden steps down. That's a whole new ball game for 2024, if that's actually what takes place. Let's take a quick break. Your vote on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. Have you ever been contacted to take a political poll, yes or no? You go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and give us your thoughts on that. Vote yes or no and let us know how or how you haven't, or maybe how you have and turn it down. We'd love to hear those comments. Hannah highlighted them. In the last commercial break on YouTube, Ryan made a plea to the people who were watching. We're trying to get thumbs up on the YouTube video. And Ryan, I'm here to tell you that you got 10 thumbs up from your plea. So after you're done talking to the people here in this next break, we'll see how many thumbs up Hannah can get on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
Hannah, are you game for that?
Yeah.
All right. Go on the YouTube channel, vote in the YouTube live chat poll. Keep it right here on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. We love hanging out with you. We'll be back in a minute.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
97.1 is your place for full Decision 2022 coverage.
Decision 2022.
Sponsored by Air Comfort Service and TR Hughes Homes on 97.1 FM Talk.
If you are anywhere near the St. Charles area, or you're just looking for a car, check out Genesis of St. Charles and make the drive even if you're not close, because they will give you a great deal on a luxury vehicle. You will never pay over MSRP there. Other dealerships treat the MSRP like it's kind of an imaginary number right now due to all the supply problems. So not only do they have the most inventory of Genesis vehicles, but you will get that great deal because all these other dealerships, they're not doing business the same way that Genesis of St. Charles is. So check them out. They are located in the St. Charles Hyundai showroom. Once again, you will not see their sign. You have to find the St. Charles Hyundai showroom, and then they're inside of there, Genesis is, because they're part of Hyundai. They are part of the St. Charles Automotive Campus as well. It's just a quarter mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall on Veterans Memorial Parkway. Genesis is young luxury. If you're not familiar with the brand, highly recommend you check them out. You can start at genesisofstcharles.com. They make amazing happen there. Like I said, MSRP. You're not going to beat MSRP for a luxury vehicle, especially starting at about $55,000. You're not. Go ahead and shop it. Go ahead, really. You're not going to beat it. genesisofstcharles.com.
What's up, everybody? Guess who's hosting a new podcast? No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith. Listen as I pull back the curtain on everything beyond the world of sports, interviewing influential guests, outspoken celebrities, and thought leaders across the political, financial, and social spectrum. You know me, I'll give you my unbiased opinion. A No Mercy episode drops every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith, a presentation of Cadence 13 and Odyssey Studio, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose, to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which...
Okay, Mike's live in the studio right now on YouTube. Can you guys hear us? Tell us if you can hear us. Can you guys say hi?
Hi, Tommy.
Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear?
Okay, Trask from YouTube asked, how do you do a thumbs up? Trask, I am here to help you out. Everybody else who wants to know how to do a thumbs up, I will help you out. So you go to the YouTube page and you scroll down. Let's see. Do I even have
Here,
YouTube?
right here.
Okay. You look below the video, so we have the title that says.
Hey, don't distract her.
Hey,
this is a competition.
Light. No.
This
is me.
Yes,
it is. Okay, then go ahead.
Okay, so you look at.
The idea here is that the thumbs up that we get now are credited to Hannah, and Brian got 10 thumbs up with his plea.
We're gonna get. No, we're not. The like button is right below the title.
It's right where she's pointing.
Right below the title on our YouTube page. So do that.
They're going up, starting to pick up. Give that thumbs up the video.
You have to do a like button on the page, not just like around your house.
You're basically thumbsing up the video, right?
Yes, thumb up the video.
You can't just like it in your heart. You have to virtue signal and
what
show
does
us.
this mean?
What?
Dirk did a thumbs up and then a thumbs down.
No thumbs down.
Well, okay, thumbs up only.
You can
Thank
do thumbs
you.
up and then
Thank you,
take
Al
them away.
Johnson. Lots of people.
If you go
thumbs up.
If you're on, first you got to watch an ad. Sorry about that, guys. If you
thank you. He said he just did it. Thank you.
Everybody should
I hope
subscribe
tonight.
too. If
Thumbs
you
down
subscribe,
for
I get
Wiggins
credit
says
for those because I said it first.
1418. Look at that. Do you know how many we've gotten?
2.
I got
But you get till the end of the segment.
No.
Guys,
that's what you did.
Only
I gave you until she made her plea.
I only got 2.
Yeah, so everybody that knew that
Yeah,
Hannah was
2, 7. Oh, they're going up now like crazy. People are starting to thumbs up the video. I have to do math. 6.
Through.
Yep.
I knew my people would come through.
Yeah. All right, we got to get back to the show. This
Thumbs
is
down
part
was
of
for
the-
Wiggins says, sir.
Yes. All right, back to the show,
I have
guys.
my thing in your folder.
That sounds weird.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Having a little off-air conversation here about likes in the video. Trying to see if Ryan can get more likes for the video or if Hannah can. So you got to go to the YouTube
Hannah
channel.
can, Hannah can.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Go to the YouTube channel and vote in today's YouTube live chat poll in the live chat. Have you ever been contacted to take a political poll? Yes or no? We'll talk about that there in a minute. We discussed on the live broadcast online on the YouTube channel, we do a little pre-show where Brad and Ryan and Hannah set the table for you so you know what we're going to do during the show. I mean, that's like the goal of it. I don't know that we always achieve that goal. Brad and Hannah do a really good job of trying to keep the train on the tracks. And then Ryan walks in with his coffee mug.
I'm a coffee mug guy now.
Now?
Yeah, I never have been.
He reminded me of the boss in Office Space. Do you remember the boss in Office Space?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
If you could do that, that would be great.
I guess I do remind some people of the boss around here.
You slowly sipping your
like
water out
Kermit
of
the
your mug
Frog.
is fantastic radio.
It's all for the cameras.
No, it was all for the 4 people in here who could see you. Give me a break. Trisha's in studio with us right now. Why did you all of a sudden, Ryan, become a coffee mug guy?
There's a good reason. And I'm going to read an email that we got. It was sent to the entire company. from I was going to say our friend Trisha, but then she sent this email, so I'm just going to say Trisha. It says, "Hi all, we are out of cups again." Keep in mind, not just 97.1, like the whole company.
KMOX even. This is how she's talking to KMOX.
Exactly. Yeah.
Putting her foot down.
Mm-hmm. Hi all dash. We're out of hot coffee cups again.
Not a smiley face to set the tone.
Oh
or
no,
anything?
no, not
This
at all.
is not a smiley face email.
There's
No,
not
it's
even an
not.
exclamation point in it. Spoiler.
Somehow we burned through 303 weeks. Do you hear that?
That's because us media people, we don't sleep.
It's a lot of cups.
And we're all
300
cups. Thirsty, if you know what I mean. We're out of hot coffee cups again. Somehow we burned through
what do you
300
mean?
in 3 weeks.
Don't ask that question.
We have more on the way. I'll applaud you for that. We
so
have more
giving.
on the way, but we have to be mindful going forward, or we'll get cut off.
Truth. We're going to be walking around with our hands fully up together. Can I please have some more?
We finally got our water dispenser, and now we don't have any cups.
In the new, this is post-COVID. People are just going to have their mouth open underneath the spout. Sorry, I need cups. What are we supposed to do? We're parched.
The employees of this entire, all of the radio stations in this office fought so hard, so long for an ice machine. And now
everybody understands.
We get it.
Everybody
Yeah.
relates to those great battles that you have, like with office stuff.
Yes. Mhm.
You get an ice machine. You can't really be at the barbecue on Friday and be like, "So we got an ice machine at work." That's like you're in the trenches and you're fighting for these things with your colleagues. It doesn't translate when you leave the office. But everybody
when you're
knows
here, it matters.
What everybody knows that thing in your office that you worked really hard to get, and for us, it was certainly an ice maker, and soon maybe cups.
Well, that's what's funny is that, oh, yeah, you got your ice maker now? You happy with your ice maker, everybody? Okay. We're going to take away the cups now.
Here's the twist.
Yeah, here's the twist. Be like, oh, you like your Second Amendment? That's great. You can have all the gun rights you want. We're going to make bullets illegal, by the way. So
What a comparison.
it goes on here. We have to be mindful going forward, or we'll get cut off. This is apparently coming from above Trisha. I don't know.
I don't think so.
It may be her. Depends on who's doing the budget, I guess.
She's in charge of coffee.
Are you in charge of cups, though?
It's a
Clearly.
gray area.
It is a gray area. Isn't
I
it?
pulled the short straw. Aaron and I are in chief engineer, who also is in charge of this stuff too. We went the you send the coffee Nazi email. You send it. No, you send
He's
it.
good.
And I pulled the short straw.
Please try and save the disposables for your guests and clients when possible.
Let's have some guests and be like, "Hey, can we
Can we get some of those
Get
cups?
one of those cups."
Yes. we got some guests in here.
Are you sure you don't want anything to drink?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just gonna put it in front of you. If you don't want it, just don't touch it.
Right. Yeah. We're going to put about 4 or 5 cups here full of water and whatever else. This is the first, I got to say this, and I mentioned this to Hannah, I believe, off air. It's the first time that I've even known that those were reserved for guests and clients. I assumed that they were for us, but I was wrong.
So the backstory with the coffee cups was pre-COVID. We were told we could not use disposable cups anymore.
Mhm.
And then they bought us all the mugs and they brought them in.
Because it is a very important detail, Trisha, that you were saying here. There are a lot of cups available that are not disposable.
Yes. Yes, there are. Well,
There are
COVID
cups.
happened, and then they took away all of our ceramic mugs and said, no, you have to use disposables. And now we're in this weird gray area where
Should we be green or should we be scared? I just don't know what to do.
So
We're
thirsty,
thirsty,
though. We place orders for these cups, and flags start going off like, why are they using so many disposable cups?
Because we're thirsty.
Yeah.
Because
I
we
think I know
need
the answer.
coffee.
Right.
Yeah. So what is it like? How many cups how long do we need to stretch this? Let's act like it's
So-
inflation in Biden's America and we're trying to figure out how to get to the end
So
of the month.
out of the 50 or so people that are here, those 300 cups should probably last at least a month or 2.
I'm going to do some quick math here. It says
I'm
we
sure it'll
burned
be incredibly accurate.
we burned through 303 weeks. So that's 100 a week.
Uh-huh.
So you're saying that each person gets 2 cups a week, and that's too much.
300
because
300 cups, 50 people, you get 6 cups.
So the assumption is...
In how much time?
3 weeks.
So the assumption is you should be bringing in a tumbler or a mug and not everybody's using a cup. And yeah,
I like styrofoam. I got my Casey's
I don't know
cup
if I
right
put
now.
coffee in that though.
Just put it straight into my veins.
Just pour
Got
it.
any IVs?
I don't know, you guys. I pulled the short straw. I knew this was going to happen. What's my email signature say on there?
Screw you.
Yeah. It says Trisha, quote unquote, coffee police. Secret.
That's a nice little way to end it. We at the Andy Fry Show feel sorry that you pulled the short straw. Since
Thank
you're
you.
part of our show, we are going to work to get behind the problem here and figure it out.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
we are going to investigate and see if we can get to the bottom of this.
We're going to get a coffee detective.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the thing too. It leads to a mystery, right?
We're pretty sure it was Donald Trump, though.
Maybe. Maybe we're drinking a lot
We
of
don't know
coffee.
how yet.
Maybe
We're going to
it's
figure that
Trump.
out, though.
We might not even figure it out.
The New York Attorney General's looking into this.
Yeah, right. Right.
Let's get Letitia James.
We're going
I
to put
could
the
rely
FBI on
on
it.
that.
They will never solve the cup crisis. They will go after pro-life organizations, though. So,
Anyway.
All right, thanks. I trusted you guys would have my back.
You got tasked with taking care of this issue.
Yeah. It
Have
was
you
like
had
a
any-
rock, paper, scissors situation.
Have you had any backlash? I mean, other than this public lashing.
Other than us.
if you have any backlash other than a radio show inviting you in for an entire segment to talk about it.
Nothing quite like this.
No. Well, we want to get to the bottom of it because we think that we're very invested in green things
We always talk about that.
and energy efficiency.
What's your one thing?
It's a core
That's
tenet.
what we always say.
I'm not very
Hey.
invested.
Because
There's
we're
just
out
one
hanging
thing
solar
that I'm
panels.
invested in.
What is your one thing?
Just one thing.
For me, it's cutting my grass.
Mine is my coffee mug.
Thank you, Brad.
You're welcome, Trisha.
I cut my grass because it's green.
Anyway.
We're not in Kentucky, so it's not blue.
Oh, Kentucky bluegrass. Those are
Sorry.
jokes, people.
Yeah.
For those of you at home.
They're pretty strong, if I do say so.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will get to the results of the YouTube live chat poll. Have you ever been contacted to take a political poll, yes or no? And the latest promo for Wiggins America, which I hear is just hotter than expected. We'll be right back.
Shadowing what's happening. Looking through the glass, found the wrong within the
This
past,
is the
knowing
Annie
we
Fry
are.
Show.
Caught it in
Find the
wayside
podcast,
world
on-demand
without
audio,
peace,
and
face
more
up
at
bitter.
971talk.com/Annie.
That's the price you pay. Leave behind your heart and cast away. Just another product of today. Rather be the hunter than the prey. And you're standing on the edge, face up, 'cause you're a natural.
The Mark Bearden Show.
Bill Flynn, Senior Market Analyst with Price Futures Group.
OPEC is saying we're doing what we think is good to support prices, and the Biden administration is just going after Saudi Arabia because they don't like them.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, the family business at Retirement Advisory Group, are waiting for your phone call. They want to help you get to the place where your retirement that you are expecting to be taking soon, where it's worry-free. And it's hard to listen to the news every day and see the stock market up and down and feel like you're comfortable knowing that anything could go awry at any time. That's why you go get the confidence and the information from the people at the Retirement Advisory Group. You can set up a free meeting with them, a no-cost, no-obligation review of your retirement, where they will talk to you about what that they can do in order to make sure that that retirement is going to be worry-free. What are the specifics of how they take what you have, your nest egg, and make it worry-proof? You will go to the Retirement Advisory Group with this phone number and get to hear everything that they have to say, and then you make the decision on what's best for you. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Online at retirementkey.com.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you may be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to GetRefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
Annie Frey here to talk to you about the ENTs that are going to put you at the center of their practice. I'm talking about Gateway ENT. Online at GatewayDoctors.com, you're going to learn about one of the oldest private practice ear, nose, and throat groups in the area with multiple convenient locations for you. West County, Sunset Hills, Festus. For more than 40 years, they've been happily caring for children and adults. They are the most cost-effective alternative to ENT practices that are employed by large hospital systems. Learn more online at GatewayDoctors.com.
Clement Auto Group is hosting another trunk or treat for the kiddos.
We're inviting all the listeners to bring their kids, the dogs, and trunk or treat with us on Saturday, October 22nd from 1 to 4 p.m.
Music, game, prizes, and most of all,
lots of candy for your kids.
Come out Saturday, October 22nd to Clement Pre-Owned in Florissant.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studios. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 53 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Back in the car and back on the road. We're with you. Dependable traffic with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting wild as a bug. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Yeah.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I can't seem to stand on my own 2 feet. Who do you think of when you have such luck? I'm in love. I'm all shook up.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Did anyone in here see the Elvis movie?
I did. It was terrible.
You think it was terrible?
I didn't like it at all.
Nope.
No.
I think it was my parents. They just watched it. They liked it.
A lot of people did like it. I didn't. I didn't really know a lot about Elvis, so I didn't understand the whole, like, why they made it all about his manager. But now, after learning more, I'm like, okay, I understand why it's more about him.
It's super artsy. It's Baz Luhrmann is the director, who's one of my favorite directors ever. I love Moulin Rouge is my favorite movie. And he did Romeo and Juliet as well. Really well done. Really artsy. But you got to know going in that it's that.
Yeah, I didn't know that, so I was kind of thrown off. I think it's on Hulu now.
Okay. HBO. Quick Rick says I loved it, so I don't know.
I refuse
HBO,
to watch any Elvis movie in which they show his hips because I think it is inappropriate.
Well, if people want to know more about that, go to yesterday's podcast where we talked about what it's like to be with Ryan Wiggins in a Victoria's Secret shop. That was wild.
Yeah, that segment was hotter than expected.
Anyway, let's get to this here.
That is hotter than expected.
The people have spoken.
Hotter than expected.
Wiggins America.
Again, that is hotter than expected. Again. Hotter than expected, guys. Hotter than expected.
The people have spoken. It's Wiggins America with your host, Ryan Wiggins. By the way, this promo was written by Ryan.
Did you request that for this?
I did not.
Is that
I
something you
used
just have?
Things that I happened to write in the past.
Some scraps.
Yeah, that was a bunch of scraps.
It
thrown
worked.
together. Yep.
It worked. Listen,
Yep.
I've played this twice already, but it's really unbelievable. Listen to Fox Business's report on the inflation.
All right, so we're looking at a month-over-month gain of 0.4%. The estimate was 0.2%. Month-over-month coming in at 0.4%. Year-over-year, 8.2%. That is hotter than expected. Again, coming in month over month, hotter than expected at 0.4%. And again, 8.2% is the headline CPI number for the month of September. That is hotter than expected. Again, if you strip out food and energy, 6.6%. That is your core number year over year. Hotter than expected, guys. Hotter than expected. There goes your markets down 241 points.
If you are somebody who has served in media, there are other instances where you could probably relate to this, but sometimes you're trying to end something and there's like a technical glitch, so you just got to keep going. It's like she ran out of things to say.
Yeah, we've been in that situation quite a few times.
She says it's hotter than expected again, and it's hotter than we're like, we got it.
We know.
Yeah.
We're
We got
good.
it. Let's get to today's YouTube live chat poll. Hannah, what's the poll? We'll go around the room and answer it before we get to the results.
Today's YouTube live chat poll is asking, have you ever been contacted to take a political poll, yes or no? Brad, have you?
I personally no, but I took one by proxy. So somebody called my wife to take a poll. And so while she's on the phone with them taking the poll, I'm like,
answering it for her?
yeah, shaking my head yes and shaking my head no. But you know what? I could have just not said anything, and she would have probably answered the exact same way anyway. We're pretty aligned in that manner.
I haven't been contacted to take a political poll, but I'm curious as if I will be contacted after doing this.
What about you, Ryan? Yes or no?
Yeah, I was contacted several times before I worked here, and I thought, I'm going to take these polls because I love polls, honestly. And I did, and now I never stop getting calls to take polls, and I regret taking the one or two that I ever did.
I get calls to take polls all the time, and I take them every time I can.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
I get
man.
polled all the time. There have been polls in the past where they have said, are you a member of the media? Are you or anybody in your household a member of the media? And I've said yes, and it's disqualified me. But that's not the norm. And I don't really know why that should disqualify me.
They just take too much time.
Is my media relationship make me untrustworthy? Because that's funny. Before we get to the results of the poll, breaking news out of the January 6th committee, which has been being held today, and we have ignored it because I think it's not worthy of attention. But the news that came out of today is that the January 6th committee issued a subpoena for testimony from former President Donald Trump at its business meeting Thursday. Representative Liz Cheney offered the motion after members made a presentation on Trump's role in the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol by Trump supporters. The committee's vote was unanimous. Quote, we must seek the testimony under oath of January 6 key player, said Cheney. We are, quote, we are obligated to seek answers directly from the man who set this all in motion. Every American is entitled to those answers, so we can act now to protect our republic, end quote. The committee was initially expected to hold a hearing on Thursday, during which it would not be able to take an action like a vote on the subpoena, but at a last-minute change to a, quote, business meeting, allowed the committee to issue a subpoena aimed at compelling Trump's testimony. The committee gavelled out of its meeting after the subpoena vote. A spokesperson for Trump did not immediately respond to Fox News' request for comment. Cheney showed many of the key players in Trump's effort to overturn the election, pleading the fifth before the vote to compel Trump's testimony, including Jeffrey Clark and Roger Stone. Trump could fight the subpoena, which likely would tip off a legal fight with just over 2 months less in the current Congress, a very short time frame for such a major legal dispute. If Republicans take over the House in the midterms, it's not expected they will continue the work of the January 6th committee. There was an effort by Congress in the 1840s to subpoena former presidents John Tyler and John Quincy Adams over clandestine intelligence issues. They never provided information. There was also an effort by the Committee on Un-American Activities to subpoena former President Harry Truman after he was out of office. He ultimately did not comply. According to Fox News's Chad Pergram, if Trump does not appear or comply, the entire House could vote to hold him in contempt of Congress, or the House could even vote to hold him in inherent contempt. Inherent contempt is where Congress doesn't go to the Department of Justice, but instead executes its own authority to hold Trump accountable. Regular contempt would involve a criminal referral to the Department of Justice for prosecution. So that's the latest on the January 6th committee today. That's way more than I wanted to attend to it, but it is breaking news and it is big news. Should we go back to the polls?
Yes, we should.
Let's do it.
Once again, the question is, have you ever been contacted? Oh, wait, Annie, you didn't answer.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah,
you said
all the time.
that you do and that you always participate in the poll.
It always says spam likely on my phone.
Oh, yeah?
And there are always polls, which is funny.
53% of the
I know.
people who voted on our poll said that they have been contacted to take a political poll. 47% of the people say they have not. We had some people comment about this.
200 votes and 53% of the people who participated saying yes. I think that does not indicate. Most people say I've never been contacted with a poll. The people who talk about it. But more than half have. It's interesting.
And to be clear, the Annie Frey Show daily YouTube poll does not count as a political poll.
Yeah.
RS from YouTube says, I get them all the time via email now, not on the phone. Tanker says, was just contacted about 2 weeks ago for the first time. Quick Rick from YouTube says, been contacted repeatedly about how I was planning to vote or what my thoughts were about certain issues and or candidates. Every time I answer, I say the same way. You'll find out on election day.
Annie, have you ever had the ones where you start and you realize it's actually a campaign trying to push a certain issue?
They're almost all that way.
Yeah.
I've had ones that weren't, but once I get into the ones that are,
majority of
drive me crazy.
Why would you not want to participate?
Well, because if it's a campaign that's trying to push a certain issue, then I realize this isn't actually a poll. They're just trying to get me to think about things that I might have not otherwise.
That's what all polls are.
No, they're not.
They're
Some
all
of them
narrative.
are pure of heart.
Find one.
More comments. FR from YouTube says, I got a call and they wouldn't tell me who I was paying, who was paying for the survey, so I hung up. Let's see. GWib says, no, it just means nonstop political ads. And he also said, I have answered a couple polls over the past year. I know my one response can represent a large number of people, and I don't want to silence my majority to stay silent.
Yeah. I think that's the part that people who push off polls, what they don't understand if you don't participate in them, if you get asked to, is that your voice isn't represented that way. And not only are a lot of them campaigns that are trying to determine, is the Safety Act a really big deal? Should we keep talking about it? Do you know about Amendment 1? If you're doing go back to the Missouri Senate primary and people are asking questions about, how much it might matter if you know about Eric Greitens' past and allegations that, may not manifest themselves to be true. People are polling that stuff all the time. They're trying to figure out what issues to push and what issues not to push, or what people are not aware of to know how they want to make people more aware of them. But also these polls that are utilized that benefit one candidate over the other are used for fundraising purposes. You commission a poll, it looks good, it helps you raise money. You can't, to me, it's important to lend my voice and to be heard when I'm asked for it. And whether it's being used for one thing or the other, if it's being used against my interests, then I want to make sure that my voice is heard so that they don't get the strength out of that said poll that they've commissioned so that they can raise money off of it. Or if they're asking me, do I care about safety and security, or do I care, am I voting on the issue of how the Republicans were all there on January 6th and wanted to overthrow the country? I mean, these are the two things that you could be asked on any given day, assumptions that people are making about your representation in your political party. And if you get asked to poll, regardless of where it's being commissioned by, it's very ironic to me that I hate polls and I participate in all of them. And Ryan, you turn your nose up at the opportunity to participate in some polls, and you love. You just are a big fan.
I know, and it's the methodology because it's if they're issues polls like you're talking about, I actually respect them more because that tells either candidates or parties or super PACs or whoever, here's what people care about. Those do matter to me.
But it's not about whether they're talking about issues. It's about who's paying for it.
Yes. If it's a poll between two candidates, whether it be a primary poll or a general poll, I get frustrated with those. Not that you shouldn't take them. You should, and I should. But I get frustrated with them because I know they end up weighting those. So even if they only have 15 Republicans, they're just going to weight those up to what they are intending to guess that the electorate's going to be.
So you're suggesting that they wouldn't be accurate?
No, I feel like my voice doesn't matter as much in those as they do.
Well, then why would you trust the poll in the end?
Because the poll results based on good polls still matter. It's the ones that don't. It's the bad ones that don't matter.
One more
and you
comment.
Gotta filter them out.
Luke says, I did a poll yesterday. I'm probably weird, but I love participating in polls.
Yeah.
Thanks for voting in our poll.
Well, yeah, we appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for being there, for giving us a thumbs up. 75 thumbs up on the video. Today is great. And that was
more from me.
Yeah, probably. But contributions from the Ryan fans and the Hannah fans there on the breaks. When we take a break right now, we're going to hand it over to Mark Reardon. Coming up next, he'll have all the details on all the latest headlines that you're looking for right here on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
When you're an innovative business,